imagines he's running as if he's 1 point behind. He says he's willing to go anywhere and everywhere to get his message out to the voters, and that mentality was on full display in Madison Square Garden last night.
These are the people who are doing such harm to our country with their open border policies, record-setting inflation, Green New Scam, and everything else that they're doing.
And Trump spoke in front of a totally packed house at MSG last night, but he also had a very long lineup of speakers who came before him. That included RFK Jr., Dana White, Melania Trump, Hulk Hogan, and Elon Musk.
Well, Vice President Kamala Harris says last night's Trump rally at Madison Square Garden is more of the same. Here's Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House.
The vice president says Sunday's rally at Madison Square Garden that included speakers who made racist and sexist remarks is part of her closing message in the campaign's final week.
Donald Trump spends full time trying to have Americans point their finger at each other. Fans the fuel of hate and division, and that's why people are exhausted with him.
Harris is traveling around Michigan today. She'll hold a rally tomorrow night at the Ellipse near the White House, the same place former President Trump rallied supporters on January 6th, 2021. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Investigators from various federal agencies launching an interagency operation this morning at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York. That's the lockup where Sean Diddy Combs is being held right now, facing increasing scrutiny over conditions and rampant violence. Prison officials not revealing any specifics about today's operation. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A police shooting south of Indy. Partly cloudy, 65 degrees in downtown Indianapolis. No rain on your radar. Low of 61 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:02. A man in Southport's in the hospital after making a poor choice. Ryan Hedrick reports.
Police say it was early Monday morning when they spotted a man driving a car and determined that they needed to pull that car over. The cops say the car stopped near the entrance of the Berkeley Commons apartment complex, but police say instead of cooperating, the man ran away and he eventually fired a shot at an officer.
These things happen in milliseconds, and officers have those milliseconds to make very important decisions.
That's State Police Sergeant John Perrine because the state police have taken over the investigation. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Gunfire on the east side of Indianapolis yesterday afternoon. IMPD says they saw a woman get out of a car and tell them she was being held at gunpoint at North Keeling Avenue, close to 10th Street and North Sherman Avenue.
At some point, an officer-involved shooting occurred, and one individual believed to be the suspect was struck by gunfire. That individual was transported to an area hospital.
IMPD PIO Drew Brown says they also found a gun at the scene. The suspect who was shot was critically hurt and moved to a hospital. Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen's DNA still has yet to be found at the crime scene. This all confirmed by a DNA expert with Indiana State Police who testified today during the 9th day of the trial. Both blood, strands of hair, and different clothing items have all been tested. And again, Allen's DNA not found on any of it. Workers at the GM assembly plant in Fort Wayne could vote to strike this week, reports Kurt Darling.
They're part of the United Auto Workers Union, and they plan to hold a vote on Wednesday over whether or not to strike. The local union in Fort Wayne says GM is violating terms of the new contract agreed to after a messy nationwide strike last year by laying off roughly 250 temporary part-time workers, whom the union was hoping to make temporary full-time workers. A GM spokesperson says that they are abiding by the terms of the agreement and that there is no legal basis for a strike. Kurt Darling, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Studies have shown that people with dense breast tissue have a higher risk of getting breast cancer.
We need to do a better job of ensuring women understand the risks associated with dense breast tissue and work with their physicians to determine the best screening and prevention options.
State Representative Sharon Nagel of Attica wrote a bill that later became law, which says people need to be notified of their breast density after a mammogram. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:04.
Have you heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy and had his car repossessed. But what did a court find he spent the money on? Cigarettes.
Hasn't he run for office twice before and lost each time?
Sure has. Maybe that's why he wants the job, so taxpayers pay off all his debts.
But there's someone even worse than Rainwater. This Jennifer McCormick character is a really out there liberal.
Yeah, She's a pro-Biden and pro-Kamala liberal. She opposed school choice. She supports boys in the girls' locker room. And did you hear what she said about Hillary Clinton?
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
She had some great, world foreign experience. So I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Jennifer McCormick. She's hopelessly liberal.
I'm not voting for Rainwater or McCormick. They're both losers in my book.
Paid for by Indiana Republican State Committee, Inc.
The traffic on the 5s at 3:05. Here's Matt Bear.
Northbound Keystone Parkway, slow in Carmel, 106 up to 116th Street. And looking at westbound 70 good out of downtown from the south split out to Holt Road and to Indianapolis International Airport. No slowdowns at the moment. A bad one, though, coming down in Boone County at southbound 65 stop from State Road 47 past US 52. That's because of construction with a delay time of 78 minutes. Traffic sponsored by Wendy's. Any size soft drinks for $1. Wendy's has $1 soft drinks, any size, anytime. Coke, Sprite, strawberry, Fanta, whatever you want. Any size soft drink for $1. Gotta be Wendy's. Limited time only at participating Wendy's. Terms apply. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Partly to mostly cloudy skies later this afternoon. It is going to be a warm one with highs near 70. Partly to mostly cloudy overnight. Lows fall to 60. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
So let's rock it! Nigel, Jason Hammer's right over there. I can't believe there's already been 9 days of testimony in the Delphi trial. Here is the latest. Another expert says no DNA. I'll repeat that. No DNA from the accused, Richard Allen, was found at the scene.
So the expert they brought to the stand today worked at the Indiana State Police laboratory as a forensic scientist and as a DNA analyst. So she looked over all of the analysis that was recovered from Abby and Libby's bodies at the crime scene, as well as their clothes, blood, things around the neighborhood. And this is the important part, the cartridge recovered from the crime scene, right? Because this is kind of what the state is trying to use to link Richard Allen to the crime scene.
The unspent
right
cartridge
correct
from the gun.
No DNA on that. Yeah, and as Guy Relford, who will join us a little bit later, has pointed out time and time again, for you to load one of those into a weapon, you really got to take your thumb, dig it down in there, push it down in there. It's almost like the way to get the perfect, fingernail print, but nothing there. So this is going to be interesting here because this was a state witness. The prosecution were the ones that said, we want this Indiana State Police expert, forensic scientist expert, to testify on our behalf. And then she goes up there and says, yeah, there's no Richard Allen DNA. Now, they did say there was a hint of a male DNA, I believe, on the clothing of Abby and Libby, but also said that's completely normal because if somebody had touched them on the way to the trail that day, if your dad hands you a sweatshirt and you put it on, you might find a little bit of his DNA on it.
No kidding.
Does not mean really anything.
Well, what does DNA mean then? OJ, there was DNA all over the place. Blood everywhere, DNA everywhere, DNA evidence, and he went free. Is the prosecution thinking, well, maybe the opposite? We could still get this guy without any DNA evidence. I want a just conviction. I want a conviction without any doubt. And so far, I haven't seen anything really that would make me think, I don't have a doubt in my mind.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I haven't seen. Have you?
No.
Like there's.
And the state has gone first, right? The prosecution has gone first. And as Donnie and Guy have pointed out, this is where, in a normal court hearing, where you run up the score, you lay out all the evidence.
Come out guns blazing.
Guns blazing. You get that jury to think this is the guy right away. But it's been the opposite that's happened so far. So we will see how this plays out. And again, coming up at 5:06 this afternoon, the absolute best Delphi coverage in the city of Indianapolis. Donnie Burgess, one of the court reporters, pool reporters for this trial, will join us in studio, and Guy Relford will provide the analysis from a defense attorney's perspective. So that's coming up at 5:06. Don't want to miss that. Another big story that happened over the weekend is the fire that took place at the HVAF building, helping veterans and families. These are Hoosier veterans, predominantly all Hoosier veterans that were homeless, and they had nowhere to go except for this facility. And a fire went rampant and destroyed the building. Joining us now on the hotline is the CEO of Helping Veterans and Families for Indiana, Emmy Hildebrand. Emmy, first and foremost, how are the people that were affected by that fire? Were there any injuries that we know of? Is everybody accounted for?
We had a few minor injuries like smoke inhalation, but thankfully we were able to account for all 48 veterans that were living there. Everyone survived, and that is a miracle.
Emmy, first and foremost, my thoughts are with the people that were affected and displaced by this fire, but do we know what happened, how this fire was started?
We don't. It's still under investigation, and I think it'll take some time before we really understand what happened. Wow. But what we can focus on is the great need. Yes. I've been on your show before, and we've talked about, veteran homelessness here in our city and what a significant need it is. And this just makes it that much harder to serve a vulnerable population. We were able to relocate all the veterans to emergency hotels where they are now. And we're continuing to provide, really case management and intensive supportive services to kind of help them address this new trauma, right, which is losing what little they did have in a fire on Saturday night.
Emmy Hildebrand with us, the CEO of Helping Veterans and Families. So, Emmy, what do you guys need? What's the biggest need right now? Is it money? Is it some sort of resources? We have a lot of listeners here that love veterans, love their country.
Absolutely.
What can we as a show and our listeners do to help you out?
We set up a special fire assistance fund, so I would really appreciate any viewer that would visit our website, hvaf.org, and financially give to help support some of the immediate basic needs that our veterans are facing. Obviously, the hotels are a significant expense, but also clothing, food, hygiene items, transportation costs. We need help with all of that. We also have a link on our website to our Amazon wish list. We've updated it to target really specific needs of those veterans that were displaced on Saturday.
Emmy, take me back to the fire for just a second. How did you learn that there was a fire at the facility? And then take me through the timeline. What did you do next? Who came out for the rescue? Obviously, the fire department was there. Were there any other people or organizations helping you facilitate getting these veterans and families out of there and into temporary housing?
So I first learned about the fire Saturday night. I got a text from a friend who lives close, so she got an alert on the Citizen app and sent me a text and said, "Hey, I think your building's on fire." So I live about 2 miles from here, so got in the car. And it's not uncommon that we'll have a veteran burn something in the oven or whatever. But when I was coming through downtown on 65, I could see the smoke from the interstate. And I realized then that this is going to be a really significant event. When I got here, it was just maybe 15, 20 minutes into the fire department response. And they were already dumping a ton of water on it. Smoke was everywhere. But already on site was our on-call social worker who had received calls from veterans that were living at the facility. So together, she and I started to round up veterans and direct them to the parking lot out of the smoke, and where we were working with the fire department to arrange Red Cross support, and Indigo brought buses so we could get veterans out of the cold. And we eventually had maybe 15 or so staff that came on their own. We didn't call them out, but they were critical to being able to respond. We had some of our case managers scoping out hotel rooms, so we were able to, around 3 or 3:30 a.m., Indigo bust all the veterans to a hotel that our case managers had worked out. We had another case manager go to CVS around 3 a.m. to buy phone chargers and over-the-counter medication that we needed. And it was really a group effort, I think, that shows the best of who we are, that in a really tragic moment, our staff stepped in and did what we need to do.
Emmy, we got about a minute left here.
Wow.
Did you get a chance to speak to any of the veterans? How's their spirit? And what's next for you guys?
So I have spent quite a bit of time over the last few days with these veterans, and I'll just say, they got some pretty long faces, and they know that there's a long road ahead for recovery. So we're just trying to wrap around services. We have a therapist on staff who was at the hotel yesterday. She's back at the hotel today, connecting with veterans and helping them process what they've been through. And what's next for us is figuring out the logistics of all of this, working with our insurance company, figuring out what recovery and rebuilding looks like. But mostly we need the support of our community. We always need our community support to end veteran homelessness, and we need it now more than ever.
These are some folks that have fought for our country. They have served our country. They've fallen on hard times, and they need our help. And right now on our Facebook and Twitter, just find Hammer and Nigel. We've got a link to HVAF. And if you've been blessed in any way, and if you can help out these Hoosier heroes to kind of get them back on their feet again, that would be an awesome thing. Emmy, thank you so much for joining us, and please let us know if you need anything down the road.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you both.
Matt Baer standing by with a look at the roads.
All right, southbound 65 at West Street has reopened. That's a reopening of a few days earlier than what we originally expected, so that'll be nice for evening rush hour. Looking at eastbound 70, hasn't started to delay from Harding into the South Split. We do have some congestion, everybody moving up to speed. Traffic sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for, quote, today. You're in good hands with Allstate. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Right now, sunshine here on Monument
can you
Circle.
hold on for a second?
I'm sorry?
Can you just...
Are you okay?
I'm just a little tired.
Oh, don't start this crap. Don't you go full Anthony Richardson on me right now. Do not go full Anthony Richardson.
Allison, if you could just take over for me.
Oh, come on!
This is my moment.
I'm going to go just take a little breather.
Okay.
And then, maybe I'll be back. I don't know.
I'll start clearing my throat.
Nigel's going full Anthony Richardson. We're going to talk about that when we get back at 68 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Oh, yeah. Hammer and Nigel here for your Central Indy American Standard Mitsubishi Electric Elite Ductless Pro Dealer. That would be Absolute Comfort. Absolute Comfort, they specialize in these Mitsubishi Electric Ductless Mini Splits. You mount them on your wall or flush with the ceiling. They heat and cool at a very efficient level. You could use them to heat or cool specific rooms without ductwork, which ends up being a very clean way to heat and cool your house, business, or even your garage.
These high-tech units are how most of the world heats and cools their homes and offices. These Mitsubishi Electric ductless systems have advancements that can sense when a person's in a room, and then it can warm or cool that room to that person's wishes. For the ultimate in efficiency and comfort, contact Chris Wedekin at Absolute Comfort to find out more. AbsoluteComfort.org. That's AbsoluteComfort.org. Absolute Comfort is your American Standard Mitsubishi Electric Elite Ductless Pro Dealer. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
For a great place to go for car care?
Hi, this is Lonnie Hinkle from Jiffy Lube, and I'd like to share the top 5 reasons that every Hoosier should trust Jiffy Lube to help keep their car running safe and well. Number 5, our computer system holds the maintenance data for every make and model. We know exactly what your car needs and when it needs to be done. Number 4, Jiffy Lube's training system is in the Training Magazine Hall of Fame. Along with companies like Ritz-Carlton, Starbucks, and Nordstrom's, our team does the job right. Number 3, you never need an appointment. We are ready to serve you whenever it works best for you, so come on in and see us. Number 2, Jiffy Lube accepts competitor coupons so you can get our great service at the desperate price of our competitors. And number 1, Jiffy Lube is a one-stop maintenance shop, and we make it easy for you to take great care of your car. Avoid the repair shop by getting your maintenance done at Jiffy Lube. And we now offer brakes, tires, tune-ups, and minor repairs at most stores.
So head to Jiffy Lube. There's really no reason to take your car anywhere else.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
High taxes can erode returns quickly. Are you keeping as much of your investment gains as possible? Let Creative Planning help with a free year-end tax review. This personalized review will help you reduce your tax burden before the year ends. It's the perfect time to take proactive steps to optimize your tax situation. Go to creativeplanning.com/radio and request your free tax review. Act now. This offer is only good till Monday, October 28th at midnight. That's creativeplanning.com/radio.
Discover cancer care that empowers you at Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center by offering the expert, compassionate care you need.
When I was at my lowest, I would have 2 or 3 nurses come in to give me a pep talk, telling me it's okay to feel this way. It's normal, but you have us to support you and you will get through this.
Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month winds down, LifeLock reminds you to update your software regularly. These updates fix security flaws that could be exploited by identity thieves. But don't stop there. LifeLock offers comprehensive identity theft protection that goes the extra mile. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious use of your info, but also takes action to resolve identity theft issues, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for advice and fun, brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Stevenson Heating and Cooling, your independent American Standard air dealer in Mooresville.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
They're both losers in my book.
I recognize that from somewhere. My name is Nigel. Both losers. I'm Nigel. Hammer's here. Boy, what a heartbreaking loss to the division rival. Colts losing to the Texans 23-20. I mean, by all accounts, a winnable game.
Should have won it.
Even though the quarterback... Again, the quarterback made a couple of incredible throws. It happens every game, I feel like, where there are some flashes of brilliance, where you're throwing bombs to Downs and Pittman and Mitchell. And that happened in this game, but it wasn't enough.
But there are also tons of 3-and-outs in every game.
Right.
Missed wide receivers, interceptions,
Sure.
Botched snaps.
Sure.
Is it fair to say that since last year, the play of Anthony Richardson has regressed? Does anybody feel like he's a better player this year than he was a year ago? I don't think that's the case at all. So yesterday, in addition to just him not being very good at the position of quarterback, he basically tapped out and quit at one point. Now, mind you, Anthony Richardson is one of the youngest players in the league. He came out super young.
Incredibly athletic.
Super athletic. But after a long run, he tapped out and said he was tired and had to come out of the game.
For one play.
For one play, but still.
He was scrambling, right, and was running all over the place.
But you don't take yourself out of the game.
I've never seen that before.
If you're not hurt. I've never seen this from a quarterback. And I'm telling you, a lot of people officially jumped off the Richardson bandwagon when he did that.
Well, tell me what else that says, big picture. It says, hey, they don't need me this play. Joey Flax got this. Joey Cool's got this. And what kind of attitude is that to have?
Right. Peyton Manning played with a bloodied, broken, swollen jaw. The Dolphins broke his jaw. He continued to play.
I was there at that game. He came out one play. I believe it was Mark Rippon that came in and fumbled the ball. It was a complete disaster, and he came back in the next play. Peyton came back in the next play.
Andrew Luck played with a lacerated kidney and torn abdomen. Like Phillip Rivers, when he was with the Chargers, won a playoff game with like a torn ACL, like he was out there hobbling around. Like, this is what you expect. Your linemen are up front, and they're not as in shape as you are. And they've got broken bones, and they're huffing and puffing, and they got to get down the field, and they're there every play.
How about your defense? How about the guys, if the offense is just giving it to the defense and making plays, every play, running them, shoving the ball down their throat. They don't have time to rest or tap out.
Right. You're one of the youngest, most athletic quarterbacks in the league, and you tap out, and then after the game, you double down on it.
Man, tired. I ain't gonna lie. That was a lot of running right there, what I did, and I don't think I was gonna be able to go that next play. So I just, just told Sam I just needed a break right there.
You're a 21-year-old, freak of an athlete. You're tired? What the hell is that?
He's a beast. He really is a beast, man. But I didn't know what happened. I was watching it with my neighbor next door, and we thought he got injured. He tapped his helmet like on his head. Like I thought maybe he hit his head somehow, and that meant he wanted concussion protocol or something like that. But that after the game, I was tired. I needed a blow. I needed a breather.
What kind of crap is that? Like McAfee ripped him on Twitter. A bunch of people did.
Sure.
Former NFL player and current broadcaster for FS1, Emmanuel Acho, posted this on social media.
This is the Bible. Right hand of God, I swear that I have never heard anything like this in my life. Anthony Richardson, you really said you got tired and you took yourself out the game? Ladies and gentlemen, I started playing football when I was 8 years of age. I played in the NFL. Retired at age 25, instantly became a sports analyst. I'm currently 33. In all of my years of playing football, covering football, watching football, I have never heard this in my life. Anthony Richardson, just lie next time, big dog. Just lie next time. If this is the truth, just tell a lie. Bro, you the quarterback. A quarterback cannot take themselves out the game. A quarterback. Come on, bro.
And that's the sentiment from a lot of people, from Rex Ryan to Dan Orlovsky, Damian Woody, all of them ripping Anthony Richardson this morning, and rightfully so. So if you missed the game yesterday, how lucky are we to have this? If you missed the game, here to give you a recap, like she does each and every Monday, is AI Kamala Harris.
Oh, no.
Touchdown, Jonathan Taylor! Colts game recap with Kamala Harris.
So the Texans from Houston beat the Colts from Indianapolis. The highlight of the game was when Anthony Richardson quit on his teammates. Look, I grew up in a middle-class family, so I have mixed feelings about this. On one hand, I liked it when Joe Biden quit the campaign. That made it possible for an unlikable moron like myself to try and backdoor my way into the presidency without getting a single vote. But on the other hand, I don't like quitters. I remember one night when Willie Brown wanted me to do that special thing for him. I was really tired, and I also wanted to quit. But did I? No.
No.
I tied my hair back and kept going. And the best part, I was finished before his wife came home.
Good.
Anthony Richardson needs to work on his conditioning. I'll see if Willie Brown can help him, too.
And this has been Colts Game Recap with Kamala Harris. Again, how fortunate are we that she can take time out of her day to give us an update?
Oh, man, if you have not got your tickets to the World Food Championships yet, what are you waiting for? This November, Indy is going to play host to one of the most prestigious culinary competitions in the World Food Championships. We're talking 300 cooking teams, 1,200 chefs, 40 different countries. Get those tickets at worldfoodchampionships.com.
It's all taking place at the Indiana Farm Bureau Fall Creek Pavilion at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. The event features food samples, cooking demonstrations, celebrity chef appearances, barbecue, live fire activations, a family fun zone, and so much more. Get your tickets right now. Visit worldfoodchampionships.com.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi, my entire family's obsessed with all things Wicked, but my kids can't stop watching the trailer, and now they're having a Wicked-themed sleepover. Do you think our internet can handle all of the streaming and memeing going on?
Well, we've engineered our Xfinity gateways to handle hundreds of devices at once, so they can all stay magically connected.
Wow. Are you a wizard?
I wish. No, just someone that won't let a bad connection burst your internet bubble.
Now through December 22nd, get Thrillifyingly fast 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $35 a month for 12 months with no annual contract and free Wi-Fi equipment included. Go to Xfinity.com to switch today. Keep the magic going from your screen to the big screen. And see Wicked, only in theaters November 22nd. Restrictions apply. Requires privilege bill and auto-pay with bank account. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. After promo, regular rates apply. Currently $56 a month for internet service and $15 for Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary, not guaranteed.
Jennifer McCormick couldn't name a single thing she disagreed with Hillary Clinton on. That's because, just like Hillary, McCormick backed failed liberal policies. She endorsed Bidenomics, said she'd be honored to serve in Biden's administration. She opposed school choice, and she even supports biological boys playing girls' sports.
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
I did vote for Hillary Clinton. She had some great, world foreign policy experience. So, I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
It gets worse. Here's what Jennifer McCormick says about Donald Trump.
I cannot get behind that. Never voted for Trump, never will vote for Trump, never was behind Trump, never will be behind Trump. I just cannot get behind a party who is behind that type of leadership. To me, it's nonsensical.
Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A shooting on the east side, partly cloudy, 67 degrees downtown. You do have a clear radar. Tonight's low down to just 61. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:32. A shooting on the east side yesterday afternoon is something that police believe started when they saw a woman getting out of a car and telling them something.
Female exited that vehicle and stated that she was being held at gunpoint.
IMPD Public Information Officer Drew Brown says at some point after that, an officer shot their gun, hitting the suspect. That person was taken to a hospital in critical condition. No officers were hurt. A gun was recovered at the scene. Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen's DNA has yet to be found at the crime scene. This all confirmed by a DNA expert with Indiana State Police who testified earlier today, the 9th day of the trial, by the way. Both blood, strands of hair, different clothing, and all sorts of other items have all been tested at the scene. None have come up with Allen's DNA. President Joe Biden was asked about his lack of presence on the campaign trail today.
Well, I've done a lot of sorting stuff, and the fact of the matter is that I've also had to be president at the same time. So I've been in all the battleground states. I've been campaigning, but I also have to continue my job as president.
Biden, who dropped out of the race earlier this year, speaking in Delaware today. He also cast his votes. And backup quarterback Taven Jackson had to fill in for the hurt Curtis Rourke last Saturday to help IU football beat Washington and move on to that perfect 8-0 record. Head football coach Kurt Cignetti give a brief update on Rourke's status.
Optimistic on Curtis Rourke. He's thrown the last few days building up. Workload will increase as the week goes on. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
Up next for the Hoosiers this Saturday is Michigan State as they try to keep that perfect record alive. Kickoff is at 3:30 p.m. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:34.
Hey, folks. Hunter Smith here. I spent every fall from my childhood until my days in the NFL on the gridiron. Football gave me the chance to attend Notre Dame and go on to win a Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts. Football also taught me life lessons about hard work and toughness. This fall looks a little different. I'm not on the field. I'm running to represent you at the State House. and I'm taking hits from opponents. Hits meant to mislead you about my values and priorities. I'm tough enough to take it, and I trust voters are smart enough to know the truth.
Hunter Smith is a husband, father, and local business owner of Wonder Tree Farm. At the State House, Hunter will work to lower property taxes without impacting priorities like public safety. The Indiana State Police Alliance and Fraternal Order of Police endorse Hunter Smith, and Hunter will always empower parents to choose the best education for their kids. Vote Hunter Smith for state representative.
Paid for by Hunter Smith for Indiana.
The traffic at 335. Here's Matt Baer.
Southbound 65 in the Boone jammed up from State Road 47 all the way down to US 52. This is a construction, and around US 52 we bottleneck into the left center lane. So that's what's happening there. That's causing the delay of 75 minutes. Looking at southbound 65 and West Street, that has reopened a few days early, so we have that back for rush hour tonight. You have access now from the northwest side to the north split by coming southbound 65. It's nice. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for It's the Traffic Updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Mild air for tonight. Low temperatures in the lower 60s. Partly cloudy, breezy for your Tuesday. High temperatures challenging record highs in the lower 80s. On Wish TV, Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the Level on the Go and on WIBC.com.
The only way to bag a classy lady is to give her 2 tickets to the gun show.
It's Monday Gunday with the gun guy.
Just watch out for the guns. They'll get you.
Guy Relford.
Stop calling your arms guns.
Hammer and Nigel show.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there with a very special guest on the hotline.
He is a 2A attorney, a firearms instructor, and the host of the Gun Guy Show here at 93 WIBC. Guy Relford joins us. Guy, how are you?
Man, I'm great, and thanks as always to our sponsor for Monday Gunday. That's Premier Arms in Brownsburg, the largest selection of new, used, and historic firearms in the Midwest, and PA Jewelers located right in the store. Check them out at 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg or premierarms.com.
So, Guy, let's start with the Delphi trial. Earlier today, another expert takes the stand and says there are no signs of DNA from Richard Allen at the crime scene. This was a investigator from the Indiana State Police, forensics expert. They even looked at the unspent round, the controversial magic bullet, as it's been dubbed as by the media, and no sign of DNA by Richard Allen anywhere on the girls' clothes, anything. What do you think of that?
Well, you know, when you hear that, guys, don't you think that sounds like it's a defense expert that took the stand? I mean, my first question I have is why the prosecution would want to put that on in their case. I mean, maybe they just want to acknowledge it so it's not like the defense is going to have a big aha later in the trial, and so they just want to get it out there and get past it. But that sure sounds like a defense expert, not a prosecution expert. Doesn't it strike you the same way?
Well, my question is, don't they need some sort of hard evidence when talking about the prosecution and the guy that they have accused of murdering these 2 little girls? They need some evidence, right?
They need proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
Beyond a reasonable
doubt. What do we have that establishes guilt beyond any reasonable doubt thus far in the trial? Now, as Donnie Burgess keeps reminding us, you know, it's still early. We got 3 weeks to go plus. So maybe there'll be that that smoking gun, quote unquote, later on in the form of some conclusive evidence. But to me, so far in the trial, and we're a week in plus. What do we have? We have no conclusive evidence that Bridge Guy committed the murders at all. Secondly, we have no conclusive evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that Richard Allen is even Bridge Guy, or that he otherwise committed the murders. We've got no DNA at the scene. We've got according to the forensics expert and the tool mark analysis expert from Friday from the Indiana State Police, we have markings on the full cartridge that was found, the magic bullet, as you guys referred to it as, that was found at the scene. This is an unfired cartridge, is the best way to accurately describe it, that had markings on it from having been in, allegedly, Richard Allen's gun and then ejected from that gun. Both the extractor and the ejector, two different metal parts of the gun, leave markings on a shell casing when it comes out of the gun. But as Donnie Burgess reported to us on Friday, the examiner, the expert from the Indiana State Police, by simply ejecting the round out of the gun manually, as Richard Allen is accused of doing, she couldn't generate any marks for comparison on test cartridges. So she had to fire the gun for the gun to put a sufficient force on the shell casing. Now it's not an unfired cartridge anymore. Now it's a fired shell casing. And then she's comparing marks on a fired shell casing that she had to fire the gun to create the marks on the shell casing, and comparing that to the unfired cartridge. That sounds like apples and oranges to me, and I'm curious as to why the prosecution thinks that's conclusive, or why there aren't huge holes in that from a forensic science standpoint. So I have more questions about this case right now than answers, and we're a week plus into the prosecution's case in chief.
Do we know
and every day that goes by, it seems like there are more questions being raised than answers being provided.
And you also pointed out there would be obvious fingerprints on the cartridge because it's incredibly, I don't want to say difficult, but it's a process. You have to put your fingers on the bullet to put it in the magazine, and then subsequently eject it out of the gun.
Exactly. So the process of loading rounds into a magazine of a semi-automatic gun is pretty much perfect for leaving a big old thumbprint right on top of the cartridge, because that's how you typically insert them into the magazine. Now, if you wear gloves as you're doing that, or after you extract that round, you eject that round from a gun, you wipe it down, okay, that would be an explanation for no fingerprints. But is somebody going to do that, think to do that in the middle of a crime, when they, in all likelihood, the contention is going to be that he didn't mean to leave the cartridge behind. So in that case, why would you have wiped fingerprints off of it, or why would you have worn gloves? And maybe the answer is because you're committing a horrible crime, so you're wearing gloves anyway. But also at the time you loaded the gun. And what's the explanation for why you eject a round out of your gun in the middle of the commission of a crime, particularly when the gun wasn't used to murder the girls? So I think that a little informed speculation on that part is going back to the prosecution's, the state's opening statement. And they said repeatedly in their opening statement that Richard Allen used fear and intimidation to get the girls to do what he wanted them to do, to, go down the hill, quote unquote, to go to this secluded area where they were murdered. And I think they're going to make the argument that at some time during that, use of intimidation and fear, that he racked the slide of the gun in order to just show them he was really serious. Like when you see actors do in movies with pump action shotguns all the time, they'll go, "I'm serious," and they go, "I'm really serious," then you go, "Ooh, okay, wow, you racked the slide on your shotgun, so now you're really serious about using it." Theoretically, you could do that with a handgun, and when you do that, you're going to eject a live round, in other words, an unfired cartridge, out of the gun when you rack the slide like that. I think, applying a little informed speculation, I think that's the theory. But then you'd have to be dumb enough to A, eject a round out of your gun, and B, leave it behind at your crime scene.
Having a little bonus Delphi coverage with Guy Relford here. Every day at 5:06, Guy Relford and Donnie Burgess from our newsroom give us the absolute latest in the Delphi trial. Guy, shift gears here just a little bit. The Second Amendment Foundation won a case against New York Cortland Housing Authority over gun banning leases. Walk me through what this means. Talk to me in layman's terms here, and why is this important?
Yeah, I was really glad to see this. And by the way, if people are looking for a gun rights group to join, I mean, obviously I always advocate for the 2A Project, my organization here in Indiana, but nationally, the Second Amendment Foundation is really strong, and they go to the court. They file lawsuits, and they win a lot of lawsuits that do a great job of supporting and even expanding gun rights in this country. And so I'm a member and I'm a big fan. But they brought a lawsuit in New York because a subsidized housing authority, what some people call Section 8 housing or otherwise. These are local housing authorities, but they're using some federal funds. And a lot of these housing authorities for low-income housing have leases that say you cannot possess a firearm if you lease one of these properties, whether an apartment complex or otherwise, from the local housing authority. And that's the government telling you you can't possess a firearm where you live in your home. And obviously, the Second Amendment has been interpreted by the Supreme Court in the Heller decision and otherwise since 2008 to confirm that you have a right to possess firearms, including handguns, in your home for self-protection, the protection of your family. And so the government saying, "Oh no, you can't possess a firearm if you're going to lease from us," was determined to violate the Second Amendment in this case in New York. But the reason I sent it to you guys, and the reason it's certainly relevant and worth talking about, is that there are local housing authorities here in Indiana that have the same lease provision. And people think to get that low-income housing, they just have to agree to it, and it's absolutely illegal. Not only is it a violation at the federal level under the Second Amendment, a violation of the Constitution under the Second Amendment, but in Indiana we have an awesome statute we've had since 2011 called the Indiana Firearms Preemption Act, and it says local governments, local governmental units, what we call political subdivisions, and a local housing authority absolutely falls within that definition. Local government units, like a local housing authority, cannot regulate firearms, including the possession of firearms. So if your local housing authority puts a requirement in your lease in Indiana that says you can't possess a firearm if you're going to lease one of these low-cost or subsidized housing units, then that's a clear violation of your Second Amendment rights, and it's a violation of the Preemption Act, and you can sue their asses and recover significant money in terms of 3 times your attorney's fees plus your attorney's fees. And I've done that. I've gone up against local housing authorities and said, hey, one guy was a Vietnam veteran. He was disabled. He had some maintenance he needed to have done in his subsidized housing unit. They came in and while the maintenance guys were in his apartment, they said, "Hey, what's that on your nightstand?" And he said, "Well, that's my firearm. That's the Colt 45 I brought back from Vietnam." And they said, "Well, you can't have that in here." And they were going to actually kick this guy out on the street where he would have been literally homeless. Man. And we stepped in and said, "Oh, hell no," and filed a lawsuit and got him to back off. And so I want people to be aware of that, because there are a lot of different ways the government will try to infringe your Second Amendment rights. That's just one of them. And the victory in New York highlights it, but we've had that same victory here in Indiana.
Guy, if somebody wants to reach out to you, ask a question, or hire you for your services, where can they go?
Hey, I'm on Twitter or X, @Guy Relford, and I'm back on Facebook. I was booted, and I'm actually still booted, but I started another account. So Guy Relford on Facebook as well.
Guy, we'll talk to you at 5:06, okay?
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Hey, diamond lovers. Shane Company knows fine jewelry. That means a lot when you're looking for a dream engagement ring, a beautiful keepsake, or the perfect gift. When it's this important, you want someone who knows exactly how to work with your budget. Not against it. Someone who knows you deserve a piece more beautiful than you've ever imagined. Through 4 generations as a family business, we've always sourced our diamonds and gemstones directly, cut out the middleman, and passed the savings on to you. Come see us in store and compare our wide selection of diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in different shapes and sizes. So many in stock and ready to take home today. Create your dream engagement ring in 3 easy steps. Or pick a perfectly preset ring that's created by our in-house design team. Browse our selection of fine jewelry gifts for everyone in your life, from diamond and gemstone studs to must-have tennis bracelets and beautiful birthstone necklaces. With our everyday competitive prices and unmatched free lifetime warranty, Shane Company is your go-to destination for fine jewelry. Visit shaneco.com and come in to see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Earn, save, grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. $10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Indiana has nearly 2,800 pig farmers and ranks 5th in the country in pork production. Hoosier pig farmers are raising some of the finest pork in the nation. October is National Pork Month. From family farms to innovative operations, Indiana's pig farmers are committed to quality and sustainability, all while providing your family pork that's packed with protein, vitamins, and minerals that are good for you. So the next time you're at the grocery store or your favorite restaurant, make pork your choice and celebrate Indiana pig farmers.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-285-0395. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395.
Have you lost Indiana Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Guy Relford here. Time again for the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show this coming weekend at the State Fairgrounds, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's never been a more important time to exercise our rights as true Americans. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See the best in sporting, hunting, and personal protection gear, plus great displays of Americana. Come see us this weekend at the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show, Friday 2 to 7, Saturday 9 to 6, and Sunday 9 to 4. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See you there.
Hi, this is Richard Stevenson. We service all makes and models. Call us at 317-557-8532.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is your independent American Standard air dealer.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Matt Baer, what's up?
East side, Lawrence northbound 465 crash at Fall Creek. It's on the exit to I-69, blocking the right lane and slowing us down past Penn Pike. Delay is at 18 minutes. Looking at eastbound 72 downtown, stop and go down from Belmont to Meridian, Illinois. North side, eastbound 465 starting to drag from Keystone Avenue past Hallisonville Road. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Coming up right after 4 o'clock, we've got highlights of the big Trump Madison Square Garden event yesterday. He brought all of his MAGA All-Stars out for that one, and we've got some audio for you in case you missed it. It's 69 right now at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. Big Nige, you not only went to a wedding this weekend, you were the officiant.
I had become ordained online. My brother-in-law and his beautiful wife, now wife Janie, asked me to be the officiant late last fall, and it finally happened. And it was a small wedding, rooftop wedding downtown, beautiful, and I was very honored to be a part of it. It was looming over my shoulders a little bit. I'd never done anything like that.
Were you nervous?
I mean, we talk in front of tens of thousands of people every day, but it's usually just you and I in this room.
Right.
But when you do it in front of people, again, a small wedding, maybe 30, 40 people, but it ended up being great. Had a quick short ceremony, dinner, drinks.
Did you go full Prince? Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to celebrate this thing called life. Like, did you give us full Prince?
I will. I think the video is going to be available soon. I will put it up there for y'all to judge. I will let you judge me. And
we saw a photo, and you actually had a suit on.
Yeah, tailored. I got it altered.
Wow, look at this guy.
$200 will get you quite a bit at Kohl's. You know?
You got some Kohl's cash left over.
Right.
Maybe go get some shoes. I don't know. Do not go anywhere. You'll hear from Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson and all of the folks at the Trump Madison Square Garden event next.
Holidays will be here before we know it. Maybe you've already started shopping for someone on your list. AAA Hoosier Motor Club inviting you to join them, help make sure some local kids in need get gifts through the Toys for Tots program. AAA giving you the chance to send a holiday message of hope to Central Indy's less fortunate kids.
And as a thank you for donating to Toys for Tots, current AAA members will receive 25% off any merchandise in the travel store or adding someone to your AAA membership featuring their fabulous 24/7, 365 days a year roadside assistance for just $25. And non-members who donate will have the opportunity for early access to a special holiday offer, a classic AAA membership for just $50. Help local children in need this holiday season and secure your peace of mind with a AAA membership. Donate to Toys for Tots at AAA. Visit AAA.com or find the AAA store near you.
Hey, Dad?
Yeah, bud?
I'm too afraid to tell him what I saw, what I sent, what I downloaded.
You can't help what you don't know. Tell the teens in your life they can talk to you about what's happening online.
Hey, you can tell me anything, right?
Yeah, I know. We need to talk.
Learn more about online safety at InternetCrimesAgainstKids.com. A message from the Indiana Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, sponsored by the Indiana State Police.
Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy and drive, it could be low testosterone. Get your levels checked at Low T Center. They have over a decade of experience helping patients with testosterone therapy or TRT.
Now, for established patients, they offer the convenience of physician-monitored at-home TRT with advanced treatment that includes lab testing and medication. Low T Center ships right to your door. LowTCenter.com. Book right now. LowTCenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
Guy Relford here. Time again for the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show this coming weekend at the State Fairgrounds, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's never been a more important time to exercise our rights as true Americans. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See the best in sporting, hunting, and personal protection gear, plus great displays of Americana. Come see us this weekend at the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show, Friday 2 to 7, Saturday 9 to 6, and Sunday 9 to 4. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See you there.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Attention Indiana homeowners. Are you dealing with a wet and moldy crawl space? Hi, I'm Adam Swain with Swain Co. Crawl Space and Basement Repair, your real, local, Indiana family-owned experts dedicated to fixing your crawl space right the first time. And with our new no interest, no payment financing, you can get the repairs you need without breaking the bank. Don't let crawl space water problems dampen your spirits. Call Swain Co., Indy's most trusted waterproofing experts at 317-407-1868 or swaincollc.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, there was an officer-involved shooting on the east side of Indianapolis yesterday afternoon. Another officer-involved shooting this morning, this one down in Southport. And why you might be a bit fatigued from election season. Ryan Hedrick reports on those attack ads you've been hearing. That's coming up after Fox News Radio from the Technology Recyclers Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 4 o'clock.
Making their final push. I'm Tom Graham, Fox News. Vice President Harris campaigning in Battleground, Michigan today, making her economic pitch alongside running mate and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Well, a new report from Axios suggests Harris is largely not leaning on President Biden for campaign support.
That's a tough headline from Axios. Harris stiff arms Biden in the final stretch. Biden has reportedly kept days on his calendar open to go out in the trail and campaign for his vice president, but the campaign reportedly keeps saying, "We will get back to you." According to Axios, quote, one person familiar with the situation compared it to a slow-moving breakup. Harris's team and allies respect Biden's service, but are wary of further tying Harris to the unpopular president on the campaign trail. Biden was in Pittsburgh this weekend stumping for Harris at an event which did not appear on the campaign's day-ahead roundup and reportedly came as a surprise to the Harris team.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich there in Michigan. On the Republican side, former President Trump campaigning in Battleground, Georgia today, fresh off a rally in deep blue New York City. Fox's Bill Malugin is in Atlanta.
Former President Donald Trump continues to just crisscross all over the country in the final days of this campaign. He's got 2 events in Georgia today, including a rally here in Atlanta tonight. But last night, during that packed rally at Madison Square Garden, he went after VP Kamala Harris.
Kamala's gross incompetence disqualifies her from being president of the United States of America. She is grossly incompetent.
And before Trump spoke, he had a long list of speakers who were on stage before him. That included Melania Trump, RFK Jr., Dana White, Hulk Hogan, Elon Musk up there as well.
The latest Real Clear Politics polling average shows Trump with a razor-thin lead over Harris nationally. Both campaigns do have plenty of cash for the final sprint to Election Day. The New York Post reporting campaigns raising a whopping $2.5 billion. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What happened before the shooting? Mostly sunny over the circle, 69 degrees downtown. You've got a clear radar, 61 is your predicted low tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:02. A shooting on the east side of Indianapolis yesterday afternoon is something police believe started when they saw a woman getting out of a car.
Female exited that vehicle and stated that she was being held at gunpoint.
IMPD officer Drew Brown says some point after that, an officer fired their gun and shot the suspect. That person was then taken to a hospital in critical condition. No officers were hurt. A gun was recovered at the scene. A traffic stop in Southport turned dangerous when a man got out of his car and fired at least one shot at a police officer before officers returned fire.
We rely a lot upon our training, getting us there, and our experience, but you can't plan for every possible scenario.
State Police Sergeant John Perrine says the officer who was shot at was not hurt. State police are handling the investigation after that suspect was shot. Election season can have lasting effects on people's lives. Ryan Hedrick reports.
The pressure of election season is making some of us mentally ill. That's what a new survey out says. If you follow politics, you know there's a lot at stake. Another insight from the survey says that millennials and Gen Zers are going through it. In fact, many are putting off big decisions like getting married or buying a home until after the election. You could vote early in Indiana until next week. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A large fire at a veterans facility in downtown Indianapolis Saturday night displaced nearly 50 vets. CEO Emily Hildebrand of Helping Veterans and Families says they need your help now more than ever.
We set up a special fire assistance fund, so I would really appreciate any viewer that would visit our website, hvaf.org, and financially give to help support some of the immediate basic needs that our veterans are facing.
Hildebrand tells WIBC's Hammer and Nigel the cause of the fire still not known. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:04.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, over 3 million people called Morgan & Morgan in their time of need. And with over 1 million of those calls coming from previous clients, friends, and family.
My name is Jason Williams.
It was a rainy day, and I'd gotten hit from behind by a lady that was doing somewhere over 100 miles an hour is what they were saying. I've never dealt with anything like this before. Everybody that I talked to kept saying the same name, which was Morgan & Morgan. I was on hold for maybe 15 seconds. When they come back and said, Jason, we will absolutely take your case. As a non-tech savvy guy, any question that I had, if I called, text, or email, they got right back to me. They made it as easy for me as it could have been.
Thank you for trusting us. We've become the largest injury firm in the world because we've won a lot. The word is out. Size matters. Reputation matters. We're America's largest injury law firm for a reason. With over 900 dedicated attorneys and climbing, we're ready wherever you are, whatever you need. The choice is easy. We're just a phone call away. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
The traffic on the 5s at 405. What's going on, Matt Bear?
Harrison, it's on the east side, Lawrence, where we have a crash northbound 465 at Fall Creek, blocking the right lane of the exit to I-69. That exit portion, traffic is stopped back to I-70. Delay time 31 minutes. Boone County, southbound 65, stop-and-go traffic after State Road 47 down to US 52 because of construction. Traffic sponsored by PureTalk.com. Stop overpaying for your cell phone plan. Pure Talk gives you unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month on their 5G network. Dial pound 250 and say keyword switch now to save 50% off your first month. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Mild air for tonight. Low temperatures in the lower 60s. Partly cloudy, breezy for your Tuesday. High temperatures challenging record highs in the lower 80s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Characters are weirdos.
So let's rock it! You know, these days, everyone's a tough guy. Everyone's a tough guy on the keyboard, on the internet. Everyone's a badass. But when you get shot in the face and you come back defiant, ready to fight, that's a badass. That's the guy.
Man, just a raucous crowd last night at Madison Square Garden at the Trump rally. That was Don Jr. speaking before Donald Trump takes the stage at the Madison Square Garden Trump rally. New York City last night. Hammer, it was an all-star list of MAGA-infused celebrities and personalities last night.
Last night was bigger than the RNC.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no question.
For the juice you got, and to do it right in the heart of New York City. And for those that say, well, sure, you're going to find 20,000 Trump supporters in a city that big. The line outside stretched like 20 blocks long and around a corner of people that wanted to get in. This was a energetic group of folks, not only on the stage, but in the stands too. And for me, Nigel, my takeaway from what happened last night at Madison Square Garden, you saw a lot of people who just don't give a you-know-what anymore about what the left says about them, because they called it a Nazi rally. They call everybody they don't like Hitler. Everybody they don't like is a fascist. And for a long time, I think some people who may have still voted for Trump in 2020, they kind of kept quiet. They didn't want anybody to know. But I think a lot of people have reached a breaking point, and they're like, you know what? You're not doing this to people anymore. Your crap ends, and I'm going to come to New York and support my guy.
And the thing about the Nazi rally is the talking point. I heard Kamala Harris's running mate, Tim Walz, old balls, say it. They are comparing it to some sort of Nazi rally 80 years ago at Madison Square Garden. When since then there have been Democratic national conventions at Madison Square Garden. There have been Democrats that have had rallies there, but they're hearkening back to 80. Oh, well, this could all be traced back. This rally tonight can be traced back to the Nazi rally.
Sure.
80 years ago in 1939 or something like that. Something very stupid. The other thing I got from this was that it was a Sunday night. And it wasn't a Sunday night in Milwaukee. Like Rob Kendall said earlier this morning, if it was a Sunday night in Milwaukee, nobody would be covering this. This is a Sunday night in New York City. People are competing with the NFL people. Look, people got to get up and work Monday morning. And for them to have tens and tens and tens of thousands of people show up at this rally, really, I think we can learn something.
And for those that said, it's just like a Nazi rally, awful lot of Jewish folks on the stage.
Sure.
Awful lot of Jewish folks
Yeah.
in the crowd. There was a flag of Israel at one point hanging up at Madison Square Garden from one of the fans in the stands. You had people of color, different races, different creeds, sexual orientations. They had everybody there. It was the MAGA All-Star Game, and it felt like a breaking point where people have decided, we are done getting called names. Screw you guys. You are not going to talk to us like that anymore. I think, honestly, the biggest rock star of the night, the guy that got the biggest pop from the crowd, wasn't Donald Trump, but it was Elon Musk. Elon Musk goes up there, and he's talking about how they're going to save this country some money and get the government out of your pocket.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're being taxed. You're being taxed. All government spending is taxation. So whether it's direct taxation or all government spending, it either becomes inflation or it's direct taxation. Your money is being wasted, and the Department of Government Efficiency is going to fix that.
Which is what he wants to do.
We're going to get the government off your back and out of your pocketbook. And America's just not just going to be great. America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing.
Like a USA chant breaks out. They start chanting his name, Elon, Elon.
And you remember a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was a couple of days ago, Tim Walz, Kamala Harris's running mate, the governor of Minnesota, was commenting on Elon Musk, skipping around like a dip bleep during a Trump rally, calling him a clown, skipping, like making fun of him, doing the gestures.
Tim Walz was making fun of somebody doing that?
Not only that, but isn't Elon Musk have, I mean, I feel like he is associated with Asperger's or on some sort of a spectrum too, which Tim Walz's son is really associated with. So for him to say that and call Elon Musk that for, firing up a crowd is just really crappy. And that was a couple of days ago, I understand.
Right.
But Elon Musk sounded great there. He is a little socially awkward, I understand that, and there is some social stuff going on with him, but people love him. And he is the smartest man and the richest man alive. And he's dark MAGA.
Dark MAGA with the black hat. Nige, you'll be happy to know that Tucker Carlson took the stage last night.
My man.
And he was fired up too.
Donald Trump has empowered the rest of us through mostly just sticking around in the face of their hate and abuse and persecution. He has given the rest of us the right to call BS on the charade. No, you are not better than us. No, you are not smarter than us. No, you do not deserve what you have. You probably stole it. No, you're not going to bully me into silence anymore. And I can promise you at this point, 9 days out, when Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Elon Musk and Tulsi Gabbard and pretty much every high school senior and college shorty girl in the country has come out finally and said, yeah, I am for Donald Trump, actually. When the entire country has realized there is nothing embarrassing about this, what's embarrassing is to take a perfectly great country and destroy it, as they have. I'm not ashamed. You should be.
Again, Tucker last night was on one. We also heard from Tulsi Gabbard and RFK and Vivek Ramaswamy, Dana White, Hulk Hogan. Again, it was the MAGA All-Star Game, but there was a little controversy, Nige.
No.
So one of the funniest guys alive is Tony Hinchcliffe, the man behind the Kill Tony podcast. If you watch that roast of Tom Brady, you'll know this is an equal opportunity offender. Right? He's like South Park. He will roast anybody, offend anybody. That's kind of what he does. So he was kind of doing a little bit of a stand-up set at this Trump event in Madison Square Garden. Take a listen.
It is absolutely wild times. It really, really is. And, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there. No.
So, and of course, there were people with... afterwards, they were Puerto Rican people there, and they were asking about that. And they were like, it's funny. It's a joke.
Right.
It's a joke. That's what Tony Hinchcliffe does. He said things 100 times more offensive, probably about Republicans and Donald Trump and people on the right, and something about Puerto Rico. And that's what you get, by the way. I think the Trump campaign has backed away a little bit from that joke, it sounds like.
It has, but come on. Like, if that's the only thing you're going to take out of this rally, the roast comedian roasted someone. Well, yeah, that's what happens. And again, you're going to look at me with a straight face and be all butthurt about this. But when Tim Walz had a rally in Arizona and brought joke-stealing George Lopez out there, and he was making jokes about how the Mexicans steal everything, that was fine?
Donald Trump said he was going to build a wall, and George Lopez said, you better build it in one day, because if you leave that material out there overnight...
No, but it's okay, because Lopez has a Hispanic heritage.
Oh, okay.
Tony Hinchcliffe is not allowed to make those jokes.
Tony Hinchcliffe is absolutely allowed to make those jokes.
And he does. That's who that is. If you know who this guy is, and the very fact that Hinchcliffe was there on stage making those comments and performing his stand-up comedy says something about that entire rally.
Right. You're either all in on free speech or you're not. And that was kind of the essence of what Tony Hinchcliffe was talking about. Sometimes protecting free speech means protecting the speech that you don't like. It might scare you a little bit. That's what, the Republicans and Elon Musk are all about. The freedom of speech and expression.
No. They're fascists. Didn't you hear they're fascists? They're not about free speech.
Hey, do you want to hear from an awful witch?
Let's see. Is Gretchen Whitmer? Is she here?
No, but Mika Brzezinski was on air this morning of MSNBC. You probably remember Mika as being the woman that Joe Scarborough had an affair with while he was married, and now they're hooked up and they're an anchor partnership together.
I remember her more as a bleeding from the face, Mika, when she was trying to get into a Donald Trump party.
One of the great tweets of all time. But it sounds like Mika Brzezinski is about to cry about that joke Tony Hinchcliffe told at the rally. So I may or may not have put a little music on this.
I think a lot of people are seeing that rally at Madison Square Garden, seeing all those people. It's discouraging that so many people would gather and rally
to support Donald Trump,
to hate speech in America. That it's discouraging and it hurts that people who have family in Puerto Rico, who are Puerto Rican Americans, who are American citizens, are hearing hate like that. It's discouraging. Oh my gosh, how did we get here? How did we get here where a stadium of people come to hate? That's a different country, a different time.
I'm raising my hand, Nige.
Go ahead.
Aren't you the people that call everybody Hitler?
Hitler and Nazis are the new deplorables.
Right. So you're going to go on this, I can't believe, I'm so sad that Puerto Rico joke. You call everybody you disagree with fascist, Nazis, and Hitler. Facelift McGee, cram it. Matt Bear, what's going on?
East side, Lawrence crash, northbound 465 at Fall Creek. It's on the exit portion to I-69, blocking the right lane, causing stop traffic to I-74, a 30-minute delay. Southbound 65 in Boone County, stopped right now after State Road 47 to US 52, moving a little bit better right now, but that is a construction zone. It kind of takes us down to one lane there at US 52, and then you're gone. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
We need 46 more people to hit like on the YouTube feed. Go to YouTube, look for WIBC. They're streaming this little show, the Hammer and Nigel show. So if you're sick of Mika Brzezinski's stretched face and crap or anything else, just hit like. We've got to get to 100 likes. We need 46 more. Let's rock and roll and help us out. Right now, 68 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. Is This Anything is next.
You heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy and had his car repossessed. But what did a court find he spent the money on? Cigarettes.
Hasn't he run for office twice before and lost each time?
Sure has. Maybe that's why he wants the job, so taxpayers pay off all his debts.
But there's someone even worse than Rainwater. This Jennifer McCormick character is a really out there liberal.
Yeah, she's a pro-Biden and pro-Kamala liberal. She opposed school choice, she supports boys in the girls' locker room, and did you hear what she said about Hillary Clinton?
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
She had some great, world foreign experience. So I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Jennifer McCormick, she's hopelessly liberal.
I'm not voting for Rainwater or McCormick. They're both losers in my book.
Paid for by Indiana Republican State Committee, Inc.
Pat Sullivan here for the Michaelis Corporation. I'm here with Michaela to talk about water damage. Water damage at your home or business can come from heavy rains, broken or frozen pipes, and countless other ways. Michaela, if someone has a loss due to water, why should they call Michaelis?
Michaelis is a local, family-owned Indianapolis company with 39 years experience. We are manning the phones and ready to help 24/7, 365. Michaelis specializes in water damage restoration, is IICRC certified, and will restore your home or business to pre-loss condition or better.
I know a big part of getting back to normal is dealing with the insurance company. Can Michaelis help there?
Yes, Michaelis works through the entire process on your behalf to make it easy and give you peace of mind.
If you have water damage, call the Michaelis Corporation. Water, storms, fire, and mold, life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Text or call 844-FIXED-INDY. That's 844-FIXED-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Have you compared your options during Medicare open enrollment? Plans change each year, and so can your health. That's why it's so important to compare this year and make sure your drugs are covered. At Medicare.gov, you can easily compare all your options. Find a better plan, save some money, or both. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
When it's time to renovate, it's time to call Booher, B-O-O-H-E-R, BooherRemodeling.com, because it's about the process. It's about dealing with professionals who are with you every step of the way, communicating how things work. The best craftsmen and professionals who have been doing kitchens and bathrooms in Indianapolis for 2 decades. Talk to Booher Remodeling today about how they work and why it will work for you and your new kitchen. Call 317-852-5546, 852-5546, or online at Booher, B-O-O-H-E-R, BooherRemodeling.com.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Don't you deserve healthcare you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for Indianapolis, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Stevenson Heating and Cooling, your independent American Standard air dealer in Mooresville.
Hammer and Nigel presents
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
Is this anything?
All right, let's rock and roll.
Yeah.
Big Nige. We have another candidate for one of the worst national anthems of all time.
Oh, I'll believe it when I hear it.
A singer named Loomis is now viral after singing the Star Spangled Banner at the presidential debate for third-party candidates last Wednesday night.
Okay.
When her singing went off the rails, she dropped F-bombs.
Really?
She thought she could get a redo, but quickly learned from people that this was a live event. Take a listen.
We're so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare. Can I go back? Can I go back, please? I'm bursting, and I got too nervous. Gave parole for the night.
Okay, that's it. She does, I believe she does finish it out in relatively fine fashion, but that part right there, especially when you hear the producers in the background going, "Yeah, we're live."
Was that the same spot where we got the infamous "uh-oh" from Carl Lewis?
That may have been the same spot. Play her, just play it again. I want to hear I'm more interested in the producers going, "Yeah, we're live."
We're so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare. Can I go back? Can I go back, please?
Uh-oh. I'm going to make up for it now. Yes, that's something. Of course.
Is this anything? A Milwaukee man is being accused of getting violent while attending a wedding and biting the tip of somebody's finger off.
Oh!
Well, they tried to restrain him.
Just the tip.
Yeah, he bit the tip. Here's part of the 911 call after Nathan bit the guest's finger.
Pennsylvania Street, we've got a report of one person trying to fight off other people. It's a report that someone bit a finger off.
Yeah, that's something. I will say the wedding I was at over the weekend, there was nothing like that. Again, I officiated a wedding. My brother-in-law and his beautiful wife.
Nobody bit your
fiance,
tip?
Nobody bit the tip. As a matter of fact, I know you're not going to believe this. About midnight, everybody left where we were at and went to a bar. I went to bed.
Oh, I believe that.
Can you believe?
I believe that because you're never up at midnight, but you probably drank more than anybody.
They went to Coach's, and I was in the elevator to go down, and I looked at Lindsay, and she looked at me. She kind of just shook her head. She's kind of just giving me this, yeah. And I go, okay. And then I wandered back to bed. Thank God I did. I felt great Sunday morning. We got home. We picked our kids up. Because it was an adults-only wedding, we picked our kids up Sunday, and then we got home Sunday, and she took a 2-hour nap, which she never does on Sunday.
Nice.
I mean, she runs the show. I kind of help her and tag along with groceries and laundry and stuff. Went right back to bed about the time the Colts game started. So it was perfect.
Nice. Let's do one more here.
Okay.
Police in Boston are looking for a suspect that they say threw a Hot Pocket at somebody. The suspect allegedly entered the store and grabbed a Hot Pocket from the fridge.
Yeah.
When the cashier asked for an ID or tobacco products, things like that, the suspect reportedly became irate and threw the Hot Pocket at the employee.
Hot Pockets.
Yeah, that's something. I mean, I thought you were going to say they were going to ask for ID for the Hot Pocket.
No.
They must be 21 years of age or older. So they were buying tobacco or something.
Yeah, they had cigs, they had whatever it was, and a Hot Pocket.
And assault with a Hot Pocket. That's a real thing. You could go to jail for that or at least get a ticket, a fine, some sort of charge. Misdemeanor, assault with a Hot Pocket. I'm sure it's not the first time somebody's thrown a Hot Pocket at somebody else with ill intent.
Hot Pockets, I've always found, are actually difficult to cook properly because you can do the microwave, but sometimes the ends are blistering hot, but the middle is cold.
You got to do the oven, and you just have to be patient, because as soon as they're done in the oven, you have to wait for them to cool down for like another 45 minutes.
Nigel, if you're the kind of guy that has given up all hope and you're making a Hot Pocket, you don't have time for it to go in the oven. You want it now. You stare it down in the microwave, you put the tip that's blistering in your mouth, and then you chomp through the frozen middle. That's how it's done.
Fine.
Hot Pockets.
Now, guys, if you're often feeling tired, lack of motivation and drive, you gained some weight, maybe some loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low T. Don't wait to find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your testosterone levels checked. It's just a simple test. With their on-site lab, you'll get the results back right there. Low T is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low T with testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, for each patient.
For established patients, you get the convenience of physician-monitored at-home treatments that ship directly to your home. So you don't have to get in your car and drive to the Low T Center. It comes right to your house. And the Low T Center really is your one-stop shop for all things men's health. You could also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription weight loss medications. That is something that Low T Center does. So book your appointment today. LowTCenter.com. That's LowTCenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-285-0395. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395.
Eligible Hoosiers, listen up. Election Day is November 5th. This is a reminder from the Indiana Secretary of State. Make a plan to get to the polls and vote. Indiana's elections are safe, secure, and transparent. Go to indianavoters.com to find polling locations, volunteer to work at the polls, and more information for Election Day. Make your vote count this Election Day, November 5th. This message is brought to you by your Indiana Secretary of State.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Why an officer shot his gun. Partly cloudy, 68 degrees downtown. All clear on your radar. Your low tonight is 61. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:32. Gunfire on the east side yesterday afternoon. IMPD says it started when they saw a woman get out of a car, and she told officers she was being held at gunpoint at North Keeling Avenue, close to 10th Street and North Sherman Ave.
At some point, an officer-involved shooting occurred, and one individual believed to be the suspect was struck by gunfire. That individual was transported to an area hospital.
IMPD officer Drew Brown says they also found a gun at the scene. The suspect who was shot, critically injured, and moved to a hospital. Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen's DNA still is yet to be found at the crime scene. This is all confirmed by a DNA expert with Indiana State Police who testified today on the 9th day of the trial. Plenty of things like blood, strands of hair, different clothing that was at the scene have all been tested for Allen's DNA and once again come up empty. New York Governor Kathy Hochul is not happy about a Trump rally that was held at MSG yesterday. Fox's Gernal Scott reports.
Governor Hochul at a voting rights event in Brooklyn said the Madison Square Garden rally with former President Donald Trump was, to her, reason enough
why he should never, ever step foot again in the Oval Office.
The rally featured insults of the Democratic nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris, and a comic who called Puerto Rico an island of garbage. Governor Hochul took great offense to that.
I represent 1 million Puerto Ricans. I am disgusted by that characterization.
Hochul said New York, a diverse state with Ellis Island in its harbor, rejects that rhetoric. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
You may have heard about Indianapolis Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson, who sat out a few plays Sunday because he was tired. Colts center Ryan Kelly said today he had a chat with Richardson about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a conversation about it, and I think he knows it's not the standard that he needs to play up to, and the rest of the team holds him to. And I'll kind of leave the conversation that we had at that.
Kelly said Richardson's going to give his all to the team, even if it's not pretty at times. He only completed 10 of 32 passes Sunday and a loss against Houston. The market was up. The Dow increasing by 273 to 42,387. The Nasdaq up by 48 to 18,567. The S&P 500 increasing by 15 to finish the day at 5,823. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:32.
Hey folks, Hunter Smith here. I spent every fall from my childhood until my days in the NFL on the gridiron. Football gave me the chance to attend Notre Dame and go on to win a Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts. Football also taught me life lessons about hard work and toughness. This fall looks a little different. I'm not on the field. I'm running to represent you at the State House, and I'm taking hits from opponents. Hits meant to mislead you about my values and priorities. I'm tough enough to take it, and I trust voters are smart enough to know the truth.
Hunter Smith is a husband, father, and local business owner of Wonder Tree Farm. At the State House, Hunter will work to lower property taxes without impacting priorities like public safety. The Indiana State Police Alliance and Fraternal Order of Police endorse Hunter Smith, and Hunter will always empower parents to choose the best education for their kids. Vote Hunter Smith for state representative.
Paid for by Hunter Smith for Indiana.
The traffic at 4:35. Here's Matt Baer.
All right, Harrison, looking at the east side, Lawrence, northbound 465, crash blocking the right lane, causing stop-and-go traffic back to I-70, delay at 24 minutes. Eastbound 72, the south split slow from Belmont. Southbound 65 slows after West Street to the north split. That West Street closure, it reopened a few days early, so yes, you have access from southbound 65 into the north split. Southwest side, southbound 465 slows from 70 to Kentucky Avenue, and southbound 65 in Boone County, now a little bit of traffic, mostly cleared out from US 52 to State Road 32. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Center is at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for Insta Traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Thanks, Matt. And here's your forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Mild air for tonight. Low temperatures in the lower 60s. Partly cloudy, breezy for your Tuesday. High temperatures challenging record highs in the lower 80s. On Wish TV, Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show. My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there with a very special guest on the hotline.
Kevin Bowen is part of the morning show on 107.5 The Fan. It's the wake-up call with KB and Andy. KB, good news and bad news this weekend. Let's start with the good news. What a weekend in Bloomington. Now let's move on to the bad news. Let's talk about the Indianapolis Colts. I had sent you and Nige a group message during the game. I think this was after the debacle right before halftime. Is it officially a hot take to say that Anthony Richardson sucks at this point?
Oh,
Is that a hot take to say Anthony Richardson sucks?
Yeah, I think the hotness of that take is cooling down by the week. I feel like when you get to this point in his career, midway point of year two, he's starting to approach at a time where I think you've seen young quarterbacks start to turn it a little bit. Certainly Peyton Manning fall into that boat. Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, probably more present-day examples. They show signs of it. Whereas with Richardson right now, the arrow continues to point down, and there are multiple questions and multiple layers to it. So that take might have been hot like last year at this time, but I think the fact that, again, his play has only progressed, I think that take is a fair one to make, and I see plenty of reason why you would have that at this point.
Have you ever seen a quarterback do that before? Tap out, like say, hey, I need to sit this one out because I'm kind of winded. Have you ever seen that kind of thing before from a number 4 pick in the NFL draft?
I've never seen it. I've certainly never seen it in arguably the biggest game of the season either. Not to mention, I mean, again, just look at the Lamar Jacksons, Josh Allens of the world, guys that do run it a whole lot. Again, I've never seen them do it. I just thought optically there was a lot of situational awareness that wasn't there for Richardson yesterday. That play, again, the optics of it, throwing it on 3rd and 3 late in the first half when, you probably just swallow your pride and get it in halftime. Didn't get out of bounds on a late scramble on the final drive of the game. That could have been a really pivotal play. And then I thought his words post-game were a bit odd, and I don't think I've felt that way about him in many post-game press conferences this season. So, when you're the quarterback, you're the president of the United States. This is not, the student body president at Clay Junior High. It's different, and you're the captain of the football team. And, again, optically, I think there are some guys that certainly had to look at that a big cross-eyed.
And the thing is, KB, I'm not trying to beat up on the guy. I get he needs time to get better. We keep hearing this. That's fine.
You just said he sucks.
But he's not getting any better. That's what I'm saying.
I understand.
Kevin's right. You saw some signs of Peyton Manning, who had a horrible rookie year, but he got better as it went on. Same thing with Josh Allen. I would argue Anthony Richardson gets worse every game, Kevin.
Yeah, again, that's the issue. I actually went back yesterday after the game and looked at an article I had written last spring, okay, what are the NFL questions for Anthony Richardson exiting Florida? And I would argue all of those questions are still very much on the table, and many of them have only grown. Again, the arrow, people use the roller coaster analogy. I haven't been at Cedar Point and Kings Island in a while, but this roller coaster just starts up top and goes straight down. We have not had these, highs and lows of it. And now, the question for the Colts to decide is, again, where or when he will make improvements. Do you look at, hey, a full healthy offseason, we'll send him to a throwing guru, and that'll change things. I mean, these are all questions that, again, I think are totally fair to ask as he reaches the midway point here, year 2.
Kevin Bowen, 107.5 The Fan here on the Hammer and Nigel Show. Talk big picture. Colts lose a division rival game, big game down in Houston to the Texans. It was 23-20, I believe. And how big a loss was this really in terms of the Colts' future, the division, and possibly the playoffs? Should I even say the word playoffs?
Yeah, I think it's totally fair. I mean, if you look at it right now, Nige, the Colts are 4-4, and they've lost their 3 most important games of the season. 2 of those to the Texans, and then you just can't lose at Jacksonville if you want a realistic shot at winning the division. So right now, Houston's got a 2-game lead on you. They have the head-to-head tiebreaker, and unless something changes drastically, you will, in all likelihood, have missed the playoffs for a 10th straight season, or I should say not have won the division for a 10th straight season. Now, wild card is going to have to be the route. If you look at the AFC, there is some good in it, and there is a lot of bad. So if you want to be optimistic, certainly just look at the AFC standings. I mean, if you really want to dive deep into that, right now it looks like 8 or 9 teams for 7 playoff spots, and the Colts would be one of those. So certainly they're entering I would say, the toughest month of the season. So, can their level of play rise at all? I thought Jonathan Taylor and DeForest Buckner were really good in their returns yesterday, but you're going to need a whole lot of others to help out in that area. So, again, yesterday was just such a big blow to trying to win the AFC South for the first time since 2014.
Last thing here on the Colts before we move on to some other stuff here. Is Chris Ballard just going to go down with the ship here? Because, again, we said this earlier, everybody keeps saying you got to play Richardson. You got to play Richardson. But I don't know how much more time Chris Ballard has. Is he willing to just keep trotting him out there? Because I don't know if it's true or not, but I feel like Joe Flacco would have given you a better chance to win that game yesterday.
Yeah, I think, and I guess I assume that Anthony Richardson or Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen even are probably tied to Anthony Richardson. And again, me trying to predict what Jim Irsay's thinking is probably just a worthless thing to do. But here I am attempting it because, let's be honest, a ton of GMs would not have gotten an 8th season or whatever year Ballard is in now at this point, but he has gotten that. And, he would say, here's my chance to, take a swing, whatever, at the quarterback position. So, how long do you view this evaluation period? Do you view it as 3 years? I mean, again, we're about at the midway point of that then. That would include next season. Him, Ballard, and Steichen, are those 3 kind of tied at the hip for, a phrase you hear a lot when it comes to sports and predicting people and their futures and things like that. So, again, that's my assumption, but I'm hesitant to even say it just because you never know with Jim Irsay.
Kevin Bowen, 107.5 The Fan with us. The Indiana Fever looking for a new head coach. Christy Sides and the Fever have parted ways. She kind of put out this cryptic tweet afterwards. What do we make of this, KB?
Yeah, it seemed like there was some smoke behind this, especially with management changing over. And for those unfamiliar, it's a new GM and a new president since the season has ended. With the Fever, Kelly Kroskoff is back. She was over with the Pacers. She's now back with the Fever. And, the name that a lot of people have mentioned is Stephanie White, which I think a lot of Purdue fans and, fans of the Fever certainly will remember her. She was actually the head coach, or is the head coach, I should say, of Connecticut, who ousted the Fever in the playoffs. Is there a little bit of smoke there? Obviously something would have to happen from I don't know exactly what would have to happen, but I'm pretty sure there's a contract situation that has to be sifted through. But
do you think Caitlin signed off on this, Kevin? Was this kind of an Aaron Rodgers-esque move by CC here?
Boy, Rodgers seems so sleazy in some areas. I don't want to go there, but I also think that there probably was certainly I would think a chatting with not only Caitlin Clark, but maybe some of the other marquee players of what they thought of the Christy Sides experience. Again, remember, Christy Sides is a first-time head coach. And certainly they had early season struggles, but they turned it around. And I'm trying to make it into a football analogy for our audience this morning, Hammer, and you can probably, hear me out on this. Tennessee football, they make it to whatever, the Motor City Bowl or, whatever your Music City Bowl, and it's fine, but new, AD comes in and he says, enough. We want to get to New Year's Day bowls. We want to be in playoff games.
Right.
Let's make a bold, move here. Not to get away. That's kind of what the Fever are doing. Ironically, 6 of the 12 WNBA teams have fired their coaches since the season has ended. So you don't typically see 50% of turnover in a professional sports league in a given off season here. So that's something to probably point out as well. But yes, to answer the question, I'd assume Caitlin Clark offered her opinion on it, and we'll see exactly who the names are when a decision is made.
Last thing here, got about 60 seconds left. Pacers look slow. They're out to a slow start. They just seem like it's a completely different team than what we saw even in the playoffs last year. Halliburton seems a little off. The tempo seems down. What are you seeing with the Pacers?
Yeah, I'd say all the above, and I know a lot of people probably didn't pay attention to the NBA preseason, but, guys, there were some glaring issues in the preseason on both ends of the floor, and I think that has spilled over into the season. Certainly on Friday at Madison Square Garden, Halliburton was awful in that game, and then yesterday, the Sixers, you get a great schedule break, no Paul George, no Joel Embiid, and yet you can't get it done in your own building. And this week, it's tough. It's, at the Magic, who kind of had their number last year. That game is tonight, and then against the Celtics coming up on Wednesday. So, you would think early on in the season with all the continuity, they'd be better equipped to handle it. But so far, it's been very shaky. And even the opener in Detroit, you really had a late flurry from Benedict Mathurin where you easily could have lost that game. So, early season, I'd say kind of look in the mirror, wake-up moment here for the Pacers.
What's coming up on the big show tomorrow?
Well, we should have Rick Carlisle join us. He joins us every Tuesday at 8, so they get home very late from Orlando tonight, so still just kind of double-checking everything on that and to make sure it'll work. And we're also going to start kind of doing a tour of the college basketball programs around the state. So Indiana, Purdue, and Butler each of the next 3 days, exhibition season underway, and next week begins college basketball, so we'll begin to do that as well.
Kevin Bowen, the wake-up call with KB and Andy, 107.5 The Fan each morning. KB, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Jennifer McCormick couldn't name a single thing she disagreed with Hillary Clinton on. That's because, just like Hillary, McCormick backed failed liberal policies. She endorsed Bidenomics, said she'd be honored to serve in Biden's administration. She opposed school choice, and she even supports biological boys playing girls' sports.
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
I did vote for Hillary Clinton. She had some great, world foreign policy experience. So, I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
It gets worse. Here's what Jennifer McCormick says about Donald Trump.
I cannot get behind that. Never voted for Trump, never will vote for Trump, never was behind Trump, never will be behind Trump. I just cannot get behind a party who is behind that type of leadership. To me, it's nonsensical.
Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-285-0395. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Absolute Comfort. Chris Wedekin is the owner, and he tells us why many homeowners are giving up their air conditioners for a high-efficiency heat pump.
By removing your air conditioner and replacing it with a heat pump, you are not only saving by getting a higher efficiency air conditioner, the heat pump works in reverse and saves you money in the wintertime as well.
See if a heat pump is the right move for you by going to AbsoluteComfort.org. Absolute Comfort is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
At Shane Company, our engagement rings are the perfect blend of design, function, and beauty, each one a unique work of art. We meticulously craft our bridal jewelry in our jeweler's workshop to the highest standards, expertly setting each diamond by hand, ensuring the structure is perfectly balanced, and sizing everything for the perfect fit. Shane Company offers a free unmatched lifetime warranty because your engagement ring is an heirloom that was made to last. You'll cherish your ring today, tomorrow, and forever. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
If you recently lost health coverage due to a life change, healthcare.gov is here for you. Like it was there for Marcus when he lost his job, and Keisha when she turned 26 and lost her parents' insurance, and Elena when she went off Medicaid. There are many other ways to qualify. Visit healthcare.gov today to see if you're eligible to enroll. Limited time to enroll. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is a proud veteran-owned company. 317-557-8532. Don't forget to get out and vote.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is your independent American Standard air dealer.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
Never miss your favorite shows on WIBC. Get your content to go. Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kennett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Matt Baer, what's up?
Northbound 465 Hammer stop traffic 70 up to East 56th Street. Also looking at southbound 65 from 21st. That's slow to the north split. Eastbound 70 slows Harding to the south split south side. Eastbound 465 stop and go from 72 Kentucky Avenue. That construction delay in Boone County has cleared up. That is gone. Traffic has moved on southbound 65 to 267 to the dog leg. We're moving nicely, but there is congestion. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road at North Shadeland or online at DrexelIN.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Coming up here at 5:06, again, the best Delphi coverage in the city. Donnie Burgess from the WIBC Newsroom and Guy Relford. They will be giving us the latest on everything that's happened today, the latest updates and analysis, all that good stuff. That's coming up at 5:06. It's 69 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. Nigel, a survey on Halloween costumes and if they're still socially acceptable in the year 2024 is out.
Oh, boy.
So tell me what you think.
Yeah.
Can a woman dress as a man? What do you think?
For Halloween?
Yes.
I mean, they do it in everyday society.
They're playing ball against your daughter. Yeah. 69% say yes, it's still okay. 19 said no. Switch it around. Can a man dress as a woman?
Yeah, they're the ones that are in the
That's true.
Female
Yes.
dressing rooms.
65 said yes. 23% said no.
Okay.
Now, it gets a little dicey here. Can a non-Native American dress as a Native American? Can you wear full Indian headdress and go trick-or-treat?
Well, look, if Elizabeth Warren can do it, I think my daughter can dress up as Pocahontas if she wants to, yes.
Touche. Can white people wear blackface makeup if they're dressing up as a black person?
No, you can't do that.
No.
Obviously, we all know, like, there's so many instances of giant woke celebrities that have been caught in blackface, from Jimmy Kimmel to Howard Stern to Sarah Silverman.
Right.
That have somehow escaped the scourge of...
Hell, Justin Trudeau up in Canada.
Oh, yeah, right.
But the one thing that I think we can all agree on is that the ladies can still wear slutty cat costumes. And I'm hoping to see more of those this year, Nigel.
Oh, yes.
And if you're looking for a place to buy your slutty Halloween outfit, Hammer and Nigel Products has the store for you.
Halloween is almost here. Time to get your costume. We have zombies. We have werewolves. We have vampires. And everything else is slutty. It's the Slutty Halloween Super Costume Emporium. Slutty kittens, slutty bunnies, slutty witches, slutty sluts.
My cleavage has cleavage.
The Slutty Halloween Super Costume Emporium.
Oh, my God.
Slutty sluts.
Was the moaning in the background necessary?
How to make it authentic, Nige. Do not go anywhere. We have got the best coverage in the city coming up next. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Galaxy Concrete Coatings, I'm telling you, these guys are the best. I needed a new coating over my old, unmaintained, cracked, dirty garage floor. And Galaxy Concrete Coatings came in little as a day, gave me something 4 times as stronger. It's a gritty surface. It's not slippery. So easy to clean. And the best part is it's not epoxy, which is like the old stuff the other guys use. It's way better. They use polyurea, the new premium standard for coatings. Lifetime warranty. And I'm having them back out to the house to come into my basement to have a look at the concrete floor in my furnace room. Check out their website, see some pictures, get a quote, galaxyconcretecoatings.com, or call them 751-9070.
Your business needs a network it can count on.
Power's out.
Comcast Business has you covered with Wi-Fi backup to help keep your business up and running, even when your power goes out.
Everybody in the warehouse good? Lights are out, but the Wi-Fi's up. Let's power on.
It's from the company with 99.9% network reliability.
Break room, you good?
Can't microwave my burrito, but Wi-Fi's fine. Let's power on.
Power on with the leader in connectivity, Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Learn how to get Comcast Business Internet and Security Edge plus Wi-Fi backup for $59 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement when you add Comcast Business Unlimited Mobile. And ask how to get up to a $600 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Don't wait. Call or go online today. Ends 11/17/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 300 megabit per second internet, Security Edge, and Wi-Fi backup. Eagle bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. When I set out to build our firm, it was built for greatness. It was built for you. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Today, Morgan & Morgan has more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world. If you or anyone in your family has been injured, call America's largest injury law firm. Call Morgan & Morgan. ForThePeople.com.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Earn, save, grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. 10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Don't you deserve health care you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for Indianapolis, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month winds down, LifeLock reminds you to update your software regularly. These updates fix security flaws that could be exploited by identity thieves. But don't stop there. LifeLock offers comprehensive identity theft protection that goes the extra mile. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious use of your info, but also takes action to resolve identity theft issues, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Eligible Hoosiers, listen up. Election Day is November 5th. This is a reminder from the Indiana Secretary of State. Make a plan to get to the polls and vote. Indiana's elections are safe, secure, and transparent. Go to indianavoters.com to find polling locations, volunteer to work at the polls, and more information for Election Day. Make your vote count this Election Day, November 5th. This message is brought to you by your Indiana Secretary of State.
Coming up in 2 minutes, day 9 of the Delphi murders trial and a police shooting in Southport this morning. That's coming up after Fox News Radio from the Technology Recycler Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 5 o'clock.
The campaign trail remains a very busy place. I'm John Saucier, Fox News. Former President Donald Trump continuing on his campaign with just over a week left ahead of Election Day. We have Fox's Bill Malugin reporting from Atlanta.
Trump has said he's really liking the early voting numbers he's seeing from Republicans. On Fox, the chairman of the RNC said Republicans are feeling great about where they are with 8 days left to go. And Georgia is obviously another key battleground state that the Trump campaign is looking to win. Polling has shown the race here is pretty neck and neck. The most recent Marist poll last week shows this is a dead even race here with both candidates tied at 49%. But some Democrats say they feel the polling may be a little skewed.
Vice President Kamala Harris back in the battleground state of Michigan today, delivering her closing argument 8 days before Election Day. Here's Fox's Jeff Manassa with more.
The vice president visiting a semiconductor plant in Saginaw, Michigan, where she spoke for about 8 minutes and in a noticeably softer tone than in recent days, as she looks to earn more support.
And I will refer to what you all are doing here to tell you that you are a source of my optimism and also my ambition about what we are capable of.
The Saginaw company received $325 million in investments from the Biden-Harris administration. Harris also touring a labor training site in Macomb County in one of the 7 key battleground states, where she remains locked in a dead heat against former President Donald Trump. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Investigators from various federal agencies launching an interagency operation this morning in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York. This is a lockup where Sean Diddy Combs is being held. It's faced increasing scrutiny over horrific conditions and rampant violence. Prison officials not giving any specifics, though, about today's operation. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
No suspect DNA. At least so far. 68 degrees, partly cloudy downtown. Your radar's all clear. Tonight's low down to about 61. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:02. Day 9 of the Delphi murders trial spent a lot of time on DNA. Donnie Burgess reports.
Suspect Richard Allen is accused of killing Abigail Williams and Liberty German, but so far not one expert has presented any DNA evidence putting Allen at the crime scene. State Police forensic expert Stacy Bozanovsky testified Monday that hair wrapped around Abby's fingers belonged to Libby's older sister Kelsey German, and that some DNA was found, but not enough to make a profile. When asked if Allen's DNA was present, Bozanovsky said no. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Donnie joins Hammer and Nigel in a few minutes to talk more about how things went in the courtroom today. A traffic stop, dangerous in Southport because of a man got out of his car and shot at least one round at a police officer who shot him back.
We rely a lot upon our training, getting us there, and our experience, but you can't plan for every possible scenario.
State Police Sergeant John Perrine says the officer who was shot was not hurt. Indiana State Police are handling the investigation. If you're tired of those political attack ads, You're not alone. Ryan Hedrick reports many people are feeling overwhelmed this election season.
Overwhelmed is one way to put it. How about mentally ill, with political leaders getting shot at, degraded, and smeared? It's easy to understand why people are losing their minds this election season. A survey out from a mental health system indicates Americans think election season is feeding their anxiety. People involved with the survey say if you want to improve your mental health this election season, detach from the process. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A few veterans were hurt in Saturday night's fire at a veterans facility in downtown Indianapolis, but everyone survived, says Emmy Hildebrand, CEO of Helping Veterans and Families.
I'll just say, they got some pretty long faces, and they know that there's a long road ahead for recovery.
She tells WIBC's Hammer and Nigel you can visit hvaf.org to donate if you can. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 5:04.
Hoosiers need a fighter to protect our jobs and our values. I'm Todd Rokita, your Attorney General. I fight for you, and together we win. Suing Biden because he's opened the border to illegals who are killing us, harming our kids, and driving up our taxes. Stopping federal bureaucrats who kill jobs and jack up our electricity prices with their failed Green New Deal that does nothing for our air and water. Keeping criminals behind bars where they belong. Recovering millions of dollars from welfare theft, fraud, and from opioid drug manufacturers, all to protect your health and your tax dollars. Creating the Parents' Bill of Rights so you can protect our kids from those trying to corrupt them while you're at work. Successfully keeping boys from competing in girls' sports and defending, of course, our pro-life values. And the Gun Owners' Bill of Rights so you can defend yourself and your family. I'm Todd Rokita, and with your vote this November, we'll keep fighting and winning together. Paid for by the Todd Rokita Election Committee.
With traffic on the 5s at 5:05, what's going on, Matt Bear?
Harrison South Side, eastbound 465, stop and go traffic 31 over 265. Slowdown continues as you go southbound on 65 to Thompson Road. Eastbound 70, stop and go into the south split from Harding. Northbound 465, northwest side, stop and go traffic from 86th Street up to 865. We have a delay in Franklin as southbound 65 starting at State Road 44, stop and go traffic for about a half a mile. Inbound 69, cool, but a little bit slow after 96 to 82nd. At eastbound 465, that's stop and go traffic from Westfield Boulevard to Allisonville Road. Traffic sponsored by Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. They've teamed up with the Indiana Fever and Common Threads to provide local schools with information for nutritious meal preparation. Learn more at anthem.com/fever. Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield is the trade name of Anthem Insurance Companies Incorporated. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Mild air for tonight. Low temperatures in the lower 60s. Partly cloudy, breezy for your Tuesday. High temperatures challenging record highs in the lower 80s. On Wish TV, Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
So let's rock it. My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there with the pair of special guests.
Donnie Burgess from the WIBC newsroom is in studio, and back once again. Joining us on the hotline is attorney Guy Relford. So, Donnie, here's what's going to happen. I want you to reset what we've learned today, and then we're going to bring Guy into the conversation for some analysis here. We mentioned earlier there was another testimony today that said Richard Allen's DNA was nowhere found on the crime scene. That was in the morning session today. So again, reset what we found and any updates.
Yeah, it's starting to sound a bit like a broken record at this point. We had Stacy Bozanovsky, a forensic scientist with the Indiana State Police lab, and she did a lot of the testing of the swabs and fibers and things after the bodies of Abby and Libby, were found back in 2017. And she got into a lot of the detail about DNA profiles and trying to pull any scraps of DNA that she could. And of course, the big headline of today was the prosecution asked her, is any of that DNA Richard Allen's? And she said no. And she said that at one point that she didn't even develop a male profile for DNA because some of it was so flimsy, may not be the right word, but she made a difference between like touch DNA and DNA from blood, and how there was a lot of that touch DNA that's very hard to even make anything out of. And she answered the big question of, okay, whose female hairs were wrapped around Abigail's fingers? And she said they came back as Kelsey German's, the older sister of Liberty. And so now we know that one as well. And she said there's a few, listen, in a story that's this horrific, there are a few moments that make you crack a smile, and there were two. And she said that there was a male, an unknown male that popped up during testing, and it turned out it was one of the lab techs who didn't wear all of his equipment.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So,
and correct me if I'm wrong here, Donnie, based on the testimony that we heard today, we knew there was a third, looked like male DNA somewhere, but it was so minute that it could have been anything from, let's say, one of the girls' dads throwing them a sweatshirt and then that type of thing. It wasn't anything that would link, a definitive homicide suspect to the scene.
Bozanovsky put it in a I don't know if it's a strange way, but it kind of is. It was DNA found in an area that's not necessarily, unusual in any way. And so I guess she did go into a little bit of an explanation of just like, yeah, maybe so-and-so, slap you on the shoulder on the way out or something like that. It was a strange piece of testimony to me.
But the unspent cartridge, they also checked that for DNA, and no signs of Richard Allen, correct?
Yeah. Well, she said that she said it can be so hard to even pull DNA from it because they're so small, but DNA testing on the cartridge was insufficient for further analysis. So this is, it's not like a completely clear, hey, there's no Richard Allen on that cartridge anywhere. It's just she can't even pull anything from it.
Guy Relford, we'll bring you in on that. Do you buy that? Because it seems like, and we talked about this earlier, the cartridge would, at the bare minimum, have at least a thumbprint or something on it.
Yeah, it's interesting because this all sounds much more like a defense witness to me than a prosecution witness. And Donnie, I'm curious, did you get the impression that the prosecution was just wanting to take all the air out of that balloon early on in the trial and admit up front there's no DNA from Richard Allen that was found anywhere, and let's just get on with the rest of the case now? We're going to acknowledge that and not allow the defense to sort of spring that as part of their case later. But again, if you're the jury, you're sitting there going, well, why are you trying to convince me this wasn't Richard Allen? Is kind of what it sounds like at this point.
Why, that's the thing. This is the prosecution's, case right now. And sure, if they wanted to try and get that out of the way, but then the question comes back to my mind, okay, if Richard Allen's DNA was not at the crime scene, this brutal crime scene as testified to by law enforcement, then how did he do it? Is he related to Barry Allen, the Flash, and somehow did this quickly? Yeah. What's going on?
Hey, Guy, this is a dumb question. A really dumb question. There's a lot about this unspent shell casing. Do we know for sure that it was in a gun and somebody didn't just drop it? There are markings on it that indicate that was previously in a gun, correct?
Yeah, the markings that were identified and discussed Friday, as Donnie reported, were from the extractor, which is a little claw that pulls it out of the chamber, and then the ejector, which is a surface of the slide of the gun that essentially kicks the cartridge or the empty shell casing, depending on which is involved, out of the ejection port of the gun. So it was in the chamber of a gun at some point.
But they just can't prove, or they can't prove that it was necessarily in Richard Allen's gun.
Well, the testimony from the expert Friday was that it was, and that she was able, that expert from the state police, who was a tool markings analyst, was able to say that she could identify the markings on the cartridge as comparing to be identical to markings that she produced on spent shell casings that she generated from firing Richard Allen's gun. But as we talked about just a little bit on Friday, and I talked about a lot more on my show, is that's a huge variable there. In other words, she testified, Donnie, you correct me if I'm wrong because this is coming from you, but she testified that she could not produce marks on a cartridge sufficient for comparison by simply manually ejecting them from the slide of the gun, as Richard Allen purportedly did. I mean, we know he didn't fire this cartridge because it was unfired. It was an unspent cartridge, right? So you got all four components of the cartridge.
And she had to fire it to get those markings that were deep enough to mimic that.
So she couldn't produce the markings from wrecking the slide like Richard Allen did. She had to shoot the gun. Well, what's the explanation for why the markings are there when Richard Allen simply ejected the shell from the gun? None of that rings true to me, that's just to me a big hole in the prosecution's case, that she couldn't produce the same markings that Richard Allen did by simply ejecting the round without firing the gun, simply racking the slide and ejecting the round. I don't know how you can compare apples and oranges like that.
Guy, from an attorney's perspective here, let's just say that this, unspent cartridge is all they've got that links Richard Allen to the crime scene. They've matched that it goes to a gun in his house. And later in this trial, we're going to get to the confessional letter that he wrote in jail where he says he shot and killed these girls. Is that enough for a jury to say, yeah, we believe that that was the guy. We're going to say guilty here. Do you think that's enough?
No, I don't. And typically even confessions, especially confessions that are made, after long periods of interrogation and long periods of incarceration, and both of those things are present here in spades, that those have to be corroborated by some extrinsic evidence, some other evidence other than the mere confession itself. And that can be that he confessed to details that only a killer would know. That's why prosecutors always withhold from the media certain key elements of what happened at a crime scene and other pieces of forensic evidence, because they want to hold back some things to test against confessions that come in. Because believe it or not, in high profile crimes, prosecutors will get a bunch of confessions. A bunch of crazy people come out of the woodwork and go, oh, yeah, well, I did that. And they have to be able to test those confessions. And that's even why you need some extrinsic evidence that corroborates a confession. So if these girls had been shot, for instance, and then he confesses to shooting them, well, that would have a lot more weight in my mind. But since they weren't, isn't this just another example of someone who's been either put through extreme stress through long periods of interrogation and long periods of incarceration, and just wants to end the pain in the form of these interrogations and therefore confesses, or otherwise someone who's a little imbalanced who could even convince themselves that they did something they didn't do, both of which are seen often in criminal investigations, especially of high-profile cases.
All right, going to take a little time out here. When we come back, Donnie's got more of what happened in the courtroom earlier today. We'll get analysis from Guy Relford. Again, the best coverage of the Delphi trial, 5:06 every afternoon right here. Another segment coming up. Matt Baer, what's up?
Northbound 465 northwest side, slow. 86th Street, 2865. Eastbound 465, stop and go. Westfield Boulevard to Allisonville Road. Eastbound 70, stop and go. Belmont to Meridian, Illinois on the south side. Eastbound 465 loaded before 31 over 265. Southbound 65 has reopened at West Street. That's a few days earlier for a bridge maintenance project, and that construction is done. So if you're coming southbound 65 from the northwest side, you have direct access to the north split once again. Traffic sponsored by Wendy's. Any size soft drinks for $1. Wendy's has $1 soft drinks, any size, anytime. Coke, Sprite, strawberry, Fanta, whatever you want. Any size drink for $1. Gotta be Wendy's. Limited time only at participating Wendy's. Terms apply. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
69 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. Donnie Burgess from the WIBC Newsroom. Guy Relford. They're coming right back. We've got more from what happened in the courtroom earlier today in the Delphi murder trial. That's coming up next.
Of Health Minute with Dr. Robert Prather of Holistic Integration.
What is diathermy and how does it help with wound healing?
Basically, what shortwave diathermy, it's a big magnet.
Oftentimes, as you're talking and learning about physiotherapy, they say it's a heating device, but that's really not what it's for. What it's designed for is to increase circulation, both of the arteries and veins, but also of the lymphatic tissue. Anything that can be helped by increased circulation, diathermy is very, very helpful. Matter of fact, that's one of our key secrets on really getting a change in neuropathy. As far as getting neuropathy under control, we're extremely highly successful, over 90% on our testing as far as a significant improvement. And the diathermy is absolutely critical along those lines. Getting the diathermy on there can really turn around a wound situation.
The Voice of Health with Dr. Robert Prather, Sundays at 8 p.m. or anytime at thevoiceofhealthradio.com.
Fellas, if you're not upbeat like you used to be, it could be low testosterone. It affects our moods. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, can help you get back to your best. Guys have different T levels. We're not all the same. Don't go for TRT referred to as a standard dosage plan. Ask. There's a difference.
Look for TRT with an optimized personal treatment plan like you'll get with the experts at Low T Center. Go to lowtcenter.com. Book that appointment. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Real stories with Hellsberg.
I had the ring already. She had made it very clear what kind of ring she wanted.
Yep.
I pretended that I was going to kneel and picked up a pine cone instead of pulling out a ring.
What a jerk. But when I saw that ring, I was like, oh, he did good.
I really love Amy. I really, really genuinely love Amy.
I love you too.
At Hellsberg, find the engagement ring worthy of your story. Designed with the love, care, and craft it deserves. Visit a Hellsberg store or hellsberg.com.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
Maintenance is going to drastically increase the efficiency and performance of your system. It's also going to significantly improve the longevity of it. People think that they are saving money by skipping their maintenance, and in reality, they're just shaving years off the life and increasing the consumption of that unit, spending a lot more in the long term.
Get your tune-up today at Family Heating and Air, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month winds down, LifeLock reminds you to update your software regularly. These updates fix security flaws that could be exploited by identity thieves. But don't stop there. LifeLock offers comprehensive identity theft protection that goes the extra mile. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious use of your info, but also takes action to resolve identity theft issues, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Pacers basketball is ready to run it back and show the world our time is now.
With 1 and 6/10 seconds to play, Halliburton with a chance to make it a 3-point game.
Be there on Wednesday for an Eastern Conference Finals rematch.
Neesmith beat the shot clock, and the crowd tells you the result.
Your Pacers collide with the defending NBA champions, the Boston Celtics, Wednesday at 7. Get your tickets at pacers.com/tickets. Pacers, Celtics, Wednesday at 7.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Stevenson Heating and Cooling, your independent American Standard air dealer in Mooresville.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Giving you the latest updates on the Delphi murder trial, day number 9. Guy Relford's on the hotline. Donnie Burgess is in studio. Donnie, we reset what happened in the morning session. There was another state witness that said Richard Allen's DNA was nowhere to be found on the crime scene. As for the afternoon, portion of what went on today. You literally just got an update a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, this just came in. So the second witness that was called today was Major Pat Cicero of LaPorte County. He's a sheriff's major who specializes in crime scene investigation with blood stains, and apparently he went into detail about the blood stains and both related to Abby and Libby, and goes into details about, those stains on the trees, on the ground, on the sticks.
It was a very bloody, grisly crime scene.
Absolutely. And let me get his name one more time. Major Cicero said that in his estimate, in his belief, this is something we've heard over the years. This was a rumor at one point, then we heard the FBI believe this as well, and he testified today, Major Cicero, that he believes Liberty German was sat up at one point. Her body was sat up at one point because her blood is on one of the trees, and then the body was moved. And it's also his belief that Abigail's body was not moved. And so that this is some of the information that's just coming in right now.
And again, for those who may be listening for the first time here, the way information works is only a handful of local reporters get access to the court every day. That list of reporters changes every day, but everybody, local media, shares notes in like a pool, and that's how we all get updates.
Absolutely. And the last thing from Major Cicero here, at least for now, from the update I just got here, he said he did not believe Abigail Williams was moved after her injury took place. She did not have blood on her hands, which he says could have been due to her possibly being restrained or unconscious. And so that's what's coming in just now.
Is there any DNA evidence that has been unidentified that has been found? Have we found? Do we know that yet? Have the prosecutors revealed that yet?
Well, there's been possible like a partial male, and that's kind of like what we were talking about.
We covered that in the previous segment.
Not enough to fully develop something. So again, we know Abigail was there. We know Liberty was there. We do not know who else so far.
And this latest blood expert thinks that one of the girls' body has been moved, possibly propped up at some point, correct?
Yes, and the defense briefly touched on it in their opening statements a Friday ago, or whatever day we're on now at this point, that they are going to try and prove that the murders took place somewhere else, and then the girls were brought back to where they were eventually found.
So let's go to the hotline and bring in Guy Relford. Guy, now, again, we got to keep in mind the defense team, when they were saying this was a ritualistic killing, Odinism or something like that, they were told that could not be part of this trial. But it just seems like the more and more as this thing plays out, maybe, just maybe, we should have allowed some of that information in the courtroom. Do you get that same feeling, or am I the Lone Ranger here?
No, I think there's some basis for that, Jason. But I also think, and people need to understand this, just because a judge grants what's called a motion in limine, which is to exclude evidence at the beginning of the trial, and this is a ruling, it's a pretrial ruling. Because a judge grants that doesn't mean there's no possibility of that evidence ever coming in. What a lot of times happens is they grant the motion saying this appears to be based only on speculation and conjecture. There's no other evidence that supports this theory, so I'm not going to let you, float that balloon when there's nothing to support it. As evidence comes in, if there's some additional evidence that supports that theory, so it's not just pure speculation and conjecture, the judge can change his or her mind in the middle of the trial and allow the evidence to come in. So that is still a possibility. The granting of that motion pre-trial isn't the end-all, be-all of that issue. It could still potentially come in down the road.
Yeah, we're still waiting on Judge Gall to decide on the motion that the defense filed last week after one of their state witnesses kind of leaned towards that Odinism direction.
That's when they mentioned there were sticks that were organized on the bodies.
The defense immediately jumped on that, filed a motion to introduce Odinism, and then that as well. And the judge has yet to rule on that, so that still could factor in here soon.
Yeah. Donnie, you mentioned partial DNA where they couldn't match it to anyone necessarily. One thing that's scientifically true is that a partial DNA profile can be used to exclude people. Do you know, either from opening statements or any other source, does the defendant have a DNA expert? And for that matter, I'd be really interested if they have a forensic tool mark identification expert. But on the DNA, would it be possible to exclude Richard Allen from any of those partial DNA profiles that weren't sufficient to actually identify a person particularly? So
Bozanovsky did testify earlier today that, hairs of Richard Allen's have not been given yet, I guess, at this point in the investigation. But she did say that, none of the evidence that she worked with points back to Richard Allen. So as far as the defense goes, I'm not sure if they have anybody in the lineup yet.
Donnie, we got about 30 seconds left here. One other thing that happened in the court today, did somebody fall asleep?
So when I mentioned earlier, in a case this horrific, a few things do make you crack a smile. This is one of them. Apparently, the judge had to take a moment out of the day today to wake them up, and then yell at a few members of the courtroom who fell asleep in the gallery there. And she said,
reporters?
No, it was just people. It was public. Just a few people in the audience. They fell asleep, and she said, "I do not conduct court in your bedrooms. Please do not fall asleep in my courtroom." And while funny on the surface, many people have pointed out, well, if there was a bigger courthouse, more access, people don't have to line up at nighttime, this may not be a problem, but that is one thing that happened.
Donnie, awesome stuff.
Yeah,
Guy Relford, awesome stuff. We will do this again. Thank you both, gentlemen. Again, 5:06 every day. The best coverage of the Delphi trial is right here on the Hammer and Nigel show.
I will be in courts this Saturday. I will make my return to Delphi this Saturday.
Okay, because you are part of that rotating group that goes into the court, then shares notes.
Yes.
All right, looking forward to that. All right, Mock from the Chicks on the Right will join us coming up in just a moment. Right now, Harrison Silcox has a look at the news.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A shooting south of Indy this morning. Partly cloudy, 68 degrees downtown. Your radar is clear. Temperatures drop to the lower 60s after sundown. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:30. A traffic stop took a dangerous turn in Southport this morning when a man got out of his car and shot at police. One officer returned fire and hit him.
We rely a lot upon our training, getting us there, and our experience, but you can't plan for every possible scenario.
State Police Sergeant John Perrine says the officer who was shot at was not hurt. The suspect who was hit is expected to recover. State Police are handling the investigation. It's the stuff that makes you, you. Donnie Burgess reports so far, not one expert has testified to finding Richard Allen's DNA at the Delphi crime scene.
Delphi teenagers Abigail Williams and Liberty German were brutally killed, as testified to by law enforcement. However, no DNA linking back to Allen, who's charged with the murders, has been presented in court so far. Hairs found around Abigail's fingers belong to Liberty German's older sister, Kelsey. There was one definitive male DNA profile that did pop up, but it was from a lab tech who wasn't wearing all of his equipment. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
In Saginaw, Michigan, today is Vice President Kamala Harris.
Folks don't want to have to leave home to have a good-paying job. And that job should be well enough paying that you are able to buy a home and to raise a family. And what you guys are doing right here on the ground exemplifies all of that.
Harris is touring Corning's Hemlock Semiconductor facility, which was given a $325 million investment courtesy of the CHIPS and Science Act. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller is hoping progress can be made with negotiations between Hamas and Israel to force some peace after the death of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar.
Whether the new leadership will have a new position based on either their own assessments of the situation or based on the changing facts since then, we don't know. But we believe there's an opportunity to pursue a deal, and that's what we're going to try to do.
Sinwar was killed earlier this month by Israeli troops in Gaza. Israel is proposing an initial 2-day ceasefire in exchange for 4 Israeli hostages. And IU football remains undefeated after 8 tries. They've got Michigan State up next this Saturday.
Defensively, very aggressive, giving up 21 a game. Physical team. Good punter, good kicker.
Hoosier head coach Kurt Cignetti, who's optimistic that starting quarterback Curtis Rourke can return to the lineup after missing last Saturday's game. Kickoff this Saturday against the Spartans is 3:30. And with traffic at 532, what's going on, Matt Bear?
Harrison, looking at the northwest side, stop-and-go traffic running northbound 465 off 86 up to 865. You turn east, and you're slow out to Ditch Road. Eastbound 465, stop-and-go Keystone Avenue to I-69. Inbound 65, it's open at West Street a few days early, too. We still have slow traffic running from MLK to Meridian Penn. Northbound 65, stop-and-go traffic out of the North Split to Meridian Penn. Traffic sponsored by Wendy's. Any size soft drinks for a buck. Wendy's has $1 soft drinks, any size, anytime. Coke, Sprite, strawberry, Fanta, whatever you want. Any size soft drink for a buck. Gotta be Wendy's. Limited time only at participating Wendy's. Terms apply. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for Insta Traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Mild air for tonight. Low temperatures in the lower 60s. Partly cloudy, breezy for your Tuesday. High temperatures challenging record highs in the lower 80s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
Nigel Show. My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there with a very special guest on the hotline.
She is one half of the Chicks on the Right program. The lovely, the talented Miss Mock joins us. So, Mock, here's the question. Who won the big weekend media events contest? On one side, you've got Kamala Harris. She did a rally, and then she brought up the old bones of Bruce Springsteen to kind of grunt through some of his songs acoustically. The next night, she brings out Beyonce. The crowd thinks Beyonce is going to perform, which she does not. And then I think people leave the event when they see that doesn't happen. On the other side, in the other corner, you've got Donald Trump doing a 3-hour interview with Joe Rogan, and then this big, massive rally at Madison Square Garden with all of the MAGA all-stars. Who won?
Well, I think absolutely without question, hands down, Trump won the weekend. Because, first of all, Kamala couldn't even do Joe Rogan. And she still may. I know that he's saying that she still may. But there's no way that she could get through a 3-hour just shooting the crap back and forth with Joe Rogan. She just will not be able to do it because she doesn't know who she is. And you have to know and be confident in who you are to be able to have a conversation that is real. So I don't think it's going to, if that happens, it's not going to go well for her. But Trump, and then the whole Beyonce thing, are you serious? Like they hype it up to get people to come see a free Beyonce show. And so that was a huge fail. And then Trump's rally last night was freaking lit. I mean, it was so good from beginning to end. All the speakers were amazing. Elon was amazing. Tucker was amazing. It was so hype, and it was impossible not to feel just super excited about it. I think he absolutely won the weekend.
One of the things Nigel and I were talking about earlier in the show was I think the point of that big Madison Square rally was to show that there's a big portion of Americans in this country right now that no longer care what people think. They're going to support their candidate. If you want to call them a racist, if you want to call them a sexist, if you want to call them a domestic terrorist, whatever, people are done with it. They're going to show their support, and I think that was a big takeaway from last night.
Well, absolutely, and I think it was a wake-up call for blue cities who think that they're just filled with like-minded Democrat voters. They're not. There's a huge section of their populations that are hugely Trump-supporting. And the other thing is that it was so absolutely disgusting how the media covered the rally across the board with all their chyrons, saying this is like an homage to the Hitler rally in 1939 or whatever. I mean, it was just gross. Like, there was nothing fascist, there was nothing Nazi about that rally, particularly when you saw so many Israeli flags being flown around and all kinds of Jewish attendees. Everyone was welcome. Everyone had a fantastic time. There were, it was an event of patriotism and not something to be compared to a Nazi rally, especially the fact that they were saying that and not even mentioning that the DNC held its conventions there, that Bill Clinton had rallies there. That all of a sudden is just not an issue, but when Trump has one, all of a sudden it's the same as Hitler. It's so predictable and tired at this point. It was just gross.
What did you think of the comedian Hinchcliffe? Tony Hinchcliffe is in that industry. He's very popular, and the fact that he was doing stand-up at a Trump rally. I mean, after Donald Trump gets done doing the Joe Rogan podcast, and then he's making jokes about Puerto Rico, and everybody's outraged except, of course, the Puerto Ricans that were there that thought it was hilarious. But just the simple fact that Tony Hinchcliffe is a really controversial comedian did that performance really says something about the Trump campaign.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it shows, first of all, that conservatives are the ones that have a sense of humor, because clearly we saw the triggered outrage by the left about that joke. And it was so ridiculous, too, because George Lopez was just at a Tim Walz rally joking about how Mexicans steal things, and no one batted an eyelash about that. But the second that Tony Hinchcliffe makes his joke, which is so him, I mean, he rips on everyone. Take no prisoners. You're going to get ripped on if you're, he roasts everyone. And the outcry about it was so completely stupid. Although I will say, I'm of two minds about it, only because I thought it was hilarious, the whole set. But knowing that there was already sort of blood in the water about the whole racist, xenophobia thing being attached to Trump, it may not have been the best idea for him to go that direction, because it was just like chum in the water. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same time, it's like
you know what you're getting with. You know what you're getting yourself into when you have Tony Hinchcliffe open your set.
And you're either for free speech or not, right? Sometimes free speech isn't the speech you approve of, but you're either for it or not. And Mock, the one thing that I think is being left out of this whole thing, you mentioned George Lopez. I think it's a little ironic George Lopez is talking about anybody stealing anything when that dude's had a reputation for stealing jokes his whole career. I don't think many people picked up on that. Mock joining us from the Chicks on the Right program. All right, we are 8 days away from the 2024 presidential election. What are you expecting to see from your friends at the national media?
Oh, I mean, just more of the same bullcrap, all the same ridiculous accusations against Trump and his supporters that are utterly without, they don't hold any water at this point. And I think it's amazing to me that the media has such a huge collective lack of self-awareness that they don't understand that at this point, no one buys what they are selling. And you would think that they would get it at this point, but they don't. And so I do expect there to be more of the same. I expect there's going to be, I don't even know how to begin to imagine what kind of level of chaos and mayhem is going to happen, especially when we won't know the results of the election right away. At least I don't think that we will, which will cause a whole host of problems all on its own. And so, man, everybody needs to brace themselves because things are going to get weird, really, really weird.
And CBS News last night covering the Donald Trump rally. Now, mind you, this is the same network that employs Nora Mostly Peaceful O'Donnell. But the headline at CBSNews.com, Trump apparently has a full crowd at Madison Square Garden. The word apparently, you could just tell they were so bitter and so pissed off that Trump had a full house at MSG, and it was Elon, it was Tucker, it was all the flamethrowers, and they just had to put the word apparently in there.
Don't forget Hulk Hogan.
God.
The Hulkster was there, hell yeah.
Brother.
So, Mock,
oh my God.
Listen, this may be the last time we have a chance to speak with you before the presidential election. Mm-hmm. So we've been kind of holding off on this question, but I think the time is right. Who you got? Who's winning this thing?
Here we go.
You could literally ask me every hour and I would give you a different answer because that is how unbelievably inexplicably close this race is. So the second I get myself feeling hype about Trump, then I'll see, some new polls, or I'll be reading left Twitter and looking at all the people that are just dumbasses that are actually going to vote for that empty suit. And then I remember that we share the country with like a lot of those people, and then I just don't know. So I wish I could give you like 100%, like full-throated, Trump's got this in the bag kind of answer, but I just can't.
That's a great point. Like when you see the people on social media that are eating Tide Pods or burning themselves with coils or trying to stand on top of milk crates and falling and breaking their legs, their votes count the same as yours, Mock.
Exactly. And that is terrifying, but it's true. And that's why I keep wavering. I just really don't have a good sense. And then, you throw in all of the election integrity questions on top of that, and then it becomes even more dicey.
How confident do you feel in a secure election, with 10 being, it's going to be great, there's going to be no shenanigans whatsoever, and 1 being, holy hell, it's going to be 2020, Dominion machines, you got hillbillies that are dead still voting. Where are you at between 1 and 10?
I'm at about a 6, I would say. I think, I feel like Lara Trump and the rest of the RNC have done some things.
Yep,
I also feel like, they've been aware of this from the very beginning, but I don't, you're already hearing about instances of fraudulent activity happening, fake ballots and all this nonsense. So the problems exist. They're going to exist. It's how they are dealt with that is the big question mark. So I don't, I just don't feel 100% great. I don't feel like it's a lost cause, but I do feel like I'm right at around a 6.
So what you're saying is that Michigan having more registered voters than legal age voters in the state may be a red flag?
I feel like that's a little sus, as they say.
What's coming up on the Chicks on the Right show?
Oh, my gosh. I wish that the news would slow down for a hot second, because I feel like every show that we have could be 5 hours long easily. I mean, there's never a slow news day. So we always try to have the latest and greatest at 8 o'clock every morning on all of the platforms.
ChicksOnTheRight.com. That is Mock. Mock, thank you so much. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, guys.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
As summer fades and the cool breeze of fall sets in, it's the perfect time to get back to the basics, especially when it comes to your financial future. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe in simplifying your retirement plan. Our team of advisors help you build a customized retirement strategy that is designed to help reduce risk, increase income, and mitigate tax. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your plan, we're here to guide you every step of the way. It's never too early or too late to make sure your financial future is secure. Text BASICS to 888-494-5004 to download your complimentary retirement planning toolkit today. That's BASICS to 888-494-5004. Howard Bailey Financial. Back to the basics. Forward to your future. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9379. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9379. That's 800-575-9379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
High taxes can erode returns quickly. Are you keeping as much of your investment gains as possible? Let Creative Planning help with a free year-end tax review. This personalized review will help you reduce your tax burden before the year ends. It's the perfect time to take proactive steps to optimize your tax situation. Go to creativeplanning.com/radio and request your free tax review. Act now. This offer is only good till Monday, October 28th at midnight. That's creativeplanning.com/radio.
Fall brings falling leaves and falling prices. Visit Honda of Fishers now for great deals on new and used Hondas. Visit Honda of Fishers in person or online at hondaoffishers.com.
Hi, this is Richard Stevenson. Need heating service in Johnson, Morgan, or Hendricks County? Give us a call, 317-557-8532.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is your independent American Standard air dealer.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra is making its way back to Gamebridge Fieldhouse on December 19th with an all-new show, The Lost Christmas Eve Tour. For tickets and more information, head to WIBC.com.
Matt Bear, if you're not too tired, if you're not too out of breath like some young, in-shape NFL quarterbacks I know, would you mind giving us a look at traffic, please?
I just patted it on my head and looked at Nigel. Maybe could we come in here and spell me for this next, at least just for this next report, and then we can come back. Southbound 465 in Lawrence, a crash before Pendleton Pike. 3 right lanes are now blocked as a crash with a car and a semi. Traffic is stopped past East 56th Street for an 11-minute delay. Looking at southbound 65, slows from 21st to Meridian Penn. By the way, that reopened early at West Street, southbound 65. Yeah, that is good. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146 in River Road at North Shadeland or online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
68 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. Nigel, I think you know this already, but
Yeah.
I love KFC.
Oh, yes, you do.
I'm a KFC fan. I think their chicken sandwich is very underrated when it comes to the chicken sandwich wars. I have made multiple trips to the very first KFC in Corbin, Kentucky. And now KFC is teaming up with the Sleep Company.
What?
KFC has teamed up with the sleep company Hatch for a new white noise sound. So
okay.
Some people like the sound of a fan going when they go to sleep. Some people like the TV on.
I certainly do, yes.
This is of the sound of chicken being fried. Some people think it sounds like rain.
No way.
Here's the video from Hatch showing them capturing the KFC fried chicken sound.
Have you heard the internet rumor that the sound of falling rain is actually the sound of fried chicken?
Yes.
Should we get to the bottom of that rumor?
Yeah, I've got everything set up, ready to go.
Okay,
Right.
let's make chicken.
Oh, yeah.
I can see how it'd be
sounds
rain.
like rain.
They need to come up with a smell to go along with it.
Oh,
You'd never be able to
man.
get to sleep then.
Oh, that sounds amazing, though. A KFC scented candle? How has somebody not created this yet?
I've got to have a fan or something going, like a blower in a hotel room at all times, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's got to be in the background for me to sleep.
My wife is a fan person. We have to take the fan sometimes on vacation. Like if we're just driving somewhere, throw it in the back of the car, and then she has to have the fan at home. I'm a TV guy. I like to have the TV going. I like to fall asleep to a TV show in the background.
I am too, but I need a slight breeze as well.
Allison, you fan, you TV, or you fried chicken?
I do like the idea of the fried chicken. No, honestly, I just like to make sure it's at least a little cold. I like to make sure it's cold. I like sleeping in like a hoodie and like 3 blankets.
When I get to a hotel room, like the first thing I do is crank that AC down low. get it down really low. I want to be cold in that room.
And then you turn the fan portion, you hit on. Screw auto. You hit on. Always on for the fan.
Yes, I'm with that. Worst case scenario, there are apps you can find that you can download.
Lindsay has those too.
That sound like a fan going or, rain hitting a rooftop in the middle of the country or something like that.
Chicken being fried. Yeah.
Oh, man. Now I want chicken. Now I'm going to have to stop, when I get home later tonight and probably get chicken. I planned on being good today, but damn you, KFC, for making your products so irresistible. All right, do not go anywhere. We have got the top stories coming up. Guy Relford will join us for Monday Gunday. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Your business needs a network it can count on.
Power's out.
Comcast Business has you covered with Wi-Fi backup to help keep your business up and running, even when your power goes out.
Everybody in the warehouse good? Lights are out, but the Wi-Fi's up. Let's power on.
It's from the company with 99.9% network reliability.
Break room, you good?
Can't microwave my burrito, but Wi-Fi's fine. Let's power on.
Power on with the leader in connectivity, Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Learn how to get Comcast Business Internet and Security Edge plus Wi-Fi backup for $59 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement when you add Comcast Business Unlimited Mobile. And ask how to get up to a $600 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Don't wait. Call or go online today. Ends 11/17/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 300 megabit per second internet, Security Edge, and Wi-Fi backup. Eagle bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change.
Have you heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater